Welcome to RC Video Magazine's Volume 6, 1986. In this, our second tape for this year, we will be taking you to the 4th Annual Tropical Fun Fly in Costa Rica. A report on scale at the nets. Part 2, how to fly helicopters with Ed Nakasone. We've got more large scale from the QSAA. The Byron Originals Fun Fly in Ida Grove, Iowa. And we go back to 1932 to look at some vintage flying. RC Video Magazine honored an invitation this year to the 4th Annual Tropical Fun Fly in Costa Rica, a small democratic country located between Panama and Nicaragua in Central America. We were fortunate enough to spend an entire week with our hosts, the Aereo Modelissimo Costa Rica, the only RC club in that country. The club has a beautiful 300-foot runway and shelter house at the Ciudad Hacienda Los Reyes Country Club, just outside of the city of San Jose. We found ourselves amongst a talented group of modelers from all over the United States, Central America, and even as far away as Germany. The Tropical Fun Fly annually has attracted thousands of Costa Rican spectators. The participants in the Fun Fly spent several days touring the country and tuning up their planes for the show on Sunday. A wide variety of aircraft were represented.
It's called the windbag. It's brought in from Europe. It was originally designed in Europe. The principle of it is the wind inflates the bag, creates an airfoil, and as the windbag moves forward, it flies. And it's a very simple type situation. It's a novelty. It's something that people will sure like it.
Is it easy to fly?
It's very easy to fly, as you will see. I'm sure you'll take some pictures of it. And it's a very, very easy to fly airplane.
Who's it distributed by here in the United States?
Is this the company that brings it in? The product's called Texon. They introduce it in here, and it's distributed by Pan American International in Miami, Florida.
I say we've got a good bit of wind here today, maybe 10 to 15 miles an hour. Do you think that's too much wind to fly the parafoil?
No, it'll fly. It's probably helpful because I'll keep that wing, that bag inflated.
It's gonna go pretty fast downwind, isn't it?
Yes, it will. Yes, it will. Definitely will.
Okay. What's it powered with?
This particular one is powered by OS Max 50 FSR, which is a little bit of overpower. It will fly with a 45.
Aside from enjoying the flying at the airfield, we had the opportunity to take a few days and enjoy the lush tropical countryside of Costa Rica. The primary economic base of the nation is agriculture, with coffee as the leading export. Here are some of the coffee plantations that dot the countryside. All of the coffee is hand-picked, with one worker able to pick 30 to 40 pounds of beans per day. While on the bus tour provided by our host, we stopped in at an ox cart factory, providing us with a glimpse of their craftsmanship, unchanged for centuries.
Okay, we're talking with Dennis Hunt. Dennis, how did you end up coming to Costa Rica?
Well, it's a very, very belated invitation from Julio Pastor. We talked about it a couple of years ago when I first came to America from Zimbabwe, and he invited me down here. And he extended the invitation again this year, and I've really enjoyed it. It's a tremendous place, beautiful country.
Dennis produces, or he's from Zimbabwe Model Products, is that correct?
Zimbabwe Model Products, that's right. We're not new in the business, you know. Zimbabwe Model Products started first producing kits nearly 20 years ago, but we've just arrived in America now, marketing our line here.
He's brought some beautiful models here. Maybe you could tell us a little bit what you have with us.
Well, I'm showing here three of our new models. The very latest model we have is the Chipmunk, of course. It's a very nice pattern airplane. It really is a super flying model. And it looks good. We've also brought down the Gator Flea. What we decided was we needed some airplanes perhaps that were better known. Some of the names of the airplanes that we produce are not known to the American modeling public. So we made arrangements to produce in our almost ready-to-fly format, you know, the pre-assembled fuselages and foam wings, veneered and that sort of thing, some American designs, like the Gator Flea. The Gator Flea is an old Southern RC airplane, and we've made arrangements to produce that. And I've got the Witch, of course, which is our, you know, is just a fun thing, and it flies. It just flies great.
Dennis was telling me earlier a story about how to catch a witch. Maybe you could tell us.
Of course, I was prompted to tell you that story because the witch attacked me when I was being assisted by Don Lowe, and I made the mistake of running into the witch. There's a set way to catch a witch, and that is that you wait until the witch is just past you, and then you run in from the side and pluck it out of the air. So And I hope we'll be able to show you that too just now. And we have Dave Robinson helping us, and he's athletic. That he can reach in there and grab it.
Les brindan la brujería de esta tarde. Un aplauso para la bruja.
Okay, this is the group, the Lufthansa from Germany. Where's that located?
Germany is located in Europe.
I know. Where's the group?
The group is from Frankfurt.
Okay.
Frankfurt, and we belong to Lufthansa, German Airlines. And it's the first time that we're here in Costa Rica to this fun flight. And we enjoy the session very much.
Okay, so you're all employees of Lufthansa?
Yes, we are all employees of Lufthansa.
We've been watching a lot of your shuttle aircraft flying these gliders, pulling gliders. I'd like to learn a little bit more how you work this out, how this plane was developed.
That's a different question. First, if we start with gliders, we try to shut the gliders up with a rubber, with a catapult, you see? And then sometimes you don't get the real altitude. And so we get the idea to put the glider on the top of a shuttle aircraft to get higher altitude and find out also better areas where are good winds.
Nein, richtig. Geht nicht schneller.
You see, it's a prototype, it's no kit. It's developed by Reinhold Schremer. The aircraft is nearly flying 15 years, he told me. Has up to 500 shuttles now, Reinhold? Yeah, he told 500 shuttles.
You've hoisted 500 gliders airborne with this.
Yeah.
That's fantastic. Yeah. Can we find out a little bit about how it works?
It's a very simple system. You see, we have a hookup on a normal aircraft. And then you fix a glider with two rubbers on the right and on the left wing. May I demonstrate it to you?
Please. They have a servo mounted inside, and when the servo releases a pin, there's a fork. And this fork is pulled up on two sets of horns that are held in place by rubber bands. In other words, when the servo releases it, the rubber bands just release the plane. The glider, because of its extra lift, pulls away from the power plane. It works flawlessly. We're speaking with David Robertson from California Model Imports and KG Helicopters, and he's brought a Hughes 300, which we're watching fly. Dave, tell us a little bit about this craft.
Well, what we have is a gasoline-powered, weed-eater-powered helicopter. Uses a 1.3 cubic inch gasoline engine.
Okay. Does that mean that it's an engine from a weed eater?
It actually is, with some modifications, yes.
Okay.
But the basic mechanics is extremely strong. There's no plastic in the drivetrain anywhere to like stripping gears and this kind of thing. So it makes an ideal trainer and a good sport ship.
What else about the helicopter can you tell us about?
The entire mechanics is an I-beam construction so that in normal crashing situations, the only thing you're really going to hurt are the peripheral things such as blades, tail boom, rotor blades, and the canopy.
Great. Well, thank you, Dave. That's California Model Import.
Ahí vemos a este curioso aparato, mitad helicóptero, mitad avión.
Okay, we're talking with somebody who doesn't even need an introduction, I don't think, Don Lowe. Don, how did you happen to come to Costa Rica?
Well, Julio Pastora invited me to come down last year, and we came down for the fun fly, and in August we came down to a special Carl Goldberg memorial event they had. And the country's so beautiful, they invited us to come back, so here we are again.
Okay, I notice you have a gyrocopter here. This is a cute little unit. Can you tell us about that?
Well, this strange animal is imported from England. It's a Wallace semi-scale copy, and it's marketed by Texon, Pan American Hobbies in Miami, Florida. And I got interested in this thing because I've done a little bit of full-scale autogyro flying, and they're kind of strange animals, and I wanted to see if this thing is anything like it. Yeah, and it's a little strange, but it's not all that difficult to fly.
Don, how does this fun fly compare to other ones you've been to?
I would say the ones that I've attended, and I've been to several in different parts of the world, and of course in the U.S., it's about second in terms of size, size, of course, referring to the crowd. They have plenty of flyers and aircraft here, and part of the problem, of course, is getting it all in.
Eric brought the string box, the beautiful string box that we saw. He had his initial flight and had a little bit of trouble. Could you tell us what happened?
On this age, the wind come up on lifting up on stalling. And I had no more chance for this slowly flying airplane to do something. I tried, there was nothing what to do. I can repair.
Good, it can be rebuilt. We're hoping that it could be.
I can rebuild it, yes. 75% is okay. There's a lot of turbulence on this corner there, and they're lifting up in the moment, and then the speed go down when I stall.
Okay. All right. Well, I hope to see it again someday in one piece.
I think next year. Okay. Or in the States somewhere. Huh?
Yeah.
The fourth annual Tropical Fun Fly had something to offer everyone. The still active Irazu volcano and state park is only a short trip in the cool mountains from San Jose. In Costa Rica, model airplane flying is a very popular spectator sport. Thousands turned out for an afternoon of flying. The media coverage was impressive, with the local press on hand as well as live multi-camera TV coverage from a local station. Texon Precision Products and many other manufacturers donated great models as prizes for the participants and top finishers. We met and talked with a group from Panama. There were 7 flyers, assorted friends, and several model clubs represented. They made the 17-hour journey with 16 airplanes via the Pan American Highway just to be present at the event. Seems no one wanted to pass up the opportunity to meet with some of the well-known pilots visiting their part of the world. The organizer of the event, Julio Pastora, seen here with his laser, is also the president of the Aero Modelissimo Costa Rica Club. He sincerely extends his appreciation to those attending the Fun Fly and wishes a warm welcome to anyone that wants to visit this fascinating and friendly country. There is no better way to spend a vacation than flying and touring the beautiful country of Costa Rica.
Somebody comes down here, they're hooked, and they keep returning.
That seems to be the trend, and we certainly enjoy that.
Great. Well, we certainly enjoyed our stay here. We're looking forward to coming back next year to cover this event for as long as it goes on, I hope.
Well, I hope you come every month. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Hugh.
Hazel Sigg's Clipped Wing Cub, America's all-time favorite plane. Build this beautiful model of a truly outstanding airplane. This highly aerobatic plane is really a joy to fly. It is as smooth, stable, and responsive as the big one, and basic aerobatic maneuvers such as loops, rolls, spins, and snaps are easy. The Morrissey Bravo, copied at quarter scale in the quality Sig tradition. Everyone who has flown this Bravo remarks about the easygoing and smooth flying characteristics. The model is stable, forgiving, and can give a good account of itself in aerobatics. It'll get you into faster company without scaring you to death in the process. The new Cadet Senior, known as the hands-off trainer, flies along so slowly and gently that just about anyone can handle it. Even experts get a big charge out of the unique qualities of the Cadet Senior. For those of you who already have the fine Sig products, take the video tour of Sig and see what makes Sig unique in the model industry.
This is our third and final report on the 1985 Nats. We are now preparing for the 1986 Nats in Lake Charles, Louisiana. If you don't already know it, this is the 50th anniversary of the Nats. The dates are July 24th through August 2nd, 1986. A half-century of competing and sharing model aviation makes this a very special Nats.
This is a 1941 Waco VKS-7F. It's one of 30 aircraft that were originally built for the Army Air Corps for cross-country flight training. The aircraft is equipped with flaps in the lower surface of the top wing. The full-size airplane is located in Findlay, Ohio, and is owned by Mr. Vincent Mariani, who has taken 4 EAA Best of Show awards with his aircraft. This is a scratch-built model from my own plans and patterns, including the cowl and wheel pants. It is built of balsa, ply, has an OS-90 4-cycle engine swinging a 16.5 propeller. It has a wingspan of 74.6 inches. The scale is 2.25 inches to the foot. It is covered with coverall, painted with a mixture of Sig and Randolph dopes. It has 1,295 actual flying inches of wing area. It weighs 13.5 pounds, took somewhere more than 1,000 hours to construct.
Let me get your name.
I'm Charlie Nelson, and I'm a representative of the Central Mass RC Modelers, a club here in eastern Massachusetts, of which I'm the president. Although this aircraft is hand-drawn by me, when I had my plans almost done in my mail one day, Norman Rosenstock, who knows I like Wacos, had sent me a set of plans in this same scale, 2 1/4 inches to the foot. And if anyone needs plans for a very similar aircraft, contact Norm Rosenstock in Long Island, New York.
This is a Mariner. It's called a PBM-3, used in World War II by Navy pilots for, they would rescue pilots from the oceans and also survey for submarines, submarine patrol.
Okay, tell us a little bit about the construction of this aircraft.
Okay, this is entirely out of styrofoam, and the hull is covered with fiberglass, and the wings are sheeted with balsa over foam. It's literally carved out of styrofoam, covered with fiberglass, the body and the tails.
What type of power plants do you have here?
Well, I finally found out with Super Tiger 75 snurls do an adequate job for it, and as a booster for the last couple of years, out of the last 11, I'm using rockets for boosters, which adds to a little bit more touch to the takeoff climb.
What's your name?
John Nicolacci. Nine channels using 9 servos, and it has Fowler flaps, freeze ailerons, JADO control, and I have 2 servos, one for both engines and another servo for taxiing, which will increase the speed of one engine and decrease the other for taxiing, just like the real one. It had no rudder, no sub-rudder on it.
How do you know? There we go.
Okay, we're talking with Henry Hafke, and we're going to ask him a little bit about his GB here. Henry, why don't you give us a little bit of background on your relationship with this aircraft?
All right. I was born here in Springfield and grew up in Chicopee Falls, just a short distance from the Springfield airport back in the early 1930s. And I used to go over the airport and watch these airplanes fly in the evening. I was too young, really, to appreciate what was going on. To me, they were just airplanes. They had wings and a propeller, and they flew and so forth. But I have always been interested in racing planes, and about 12 years ago, I decided to build a model of one of the GBs, which there was very little information on model-wise. And the first model that I built turned out to be the best flying model I had ever built, and it was actually a model of the aircraft that flew out of here this morning, the real Model Y. And I got to know some of the Granville people and kept building GBs. That's just about all I've done for the last 10 years. This one here is one of the most well-known of the GBs. It was the racer that Jimmy Doolittle won the 1932 Thompson Trophy race with, and also set a world speed record in this aircraft. And it's just gotten a terrible reputation over the years because of the bad writings that writers have done, which is completely unfounded. And I'm getting ready to write a book on them, which is going to tell for the first time the true story of these airplanes and the men that beat them, that built them. And it's really not that difficult to fly. It's a little tricky on the ground, but it flies in the air. It flies as well as any other big airplane does. It's scratch built. I designed this about 4.5 years ago and built it. And we've been flying it regularly at contests and just out to the field for fun every once in a while. And it flies very well. It weighs 15 pounds and is powered by a Weber 90. It's all balsa and little plywood construction. And I have the plans available for it, and I've also done the plans in quarter scale, which is a little bigger than this. Previously, I had built a smaller one with a 56-inch wingspan, and at that wingspan, the airplane was just too small to be practical. You couldn't build it without having too heavy a wing loading. This one here, at 15 pounds, the wing loading figures out to be around 35 ounces, which is very acceptable for a big airplane.
What is it powered with?
It's powered with a Weber 91 speed, and I fly it on a rev-up 16 4.5 propeller. And I might also say that the Weber has a Martin Industries carburetor on it, which is the carburetor that really makes the Weber run.
Okay.
This beautiful GBY model was built by Ken Flagler. This model has one slight difference from the models competing this year at the Nats. It's flown from the inside instead of by radio. We caught up with Ken moments before he climbed in the incredibly detailed cockpit and flew off into the clear New England sunrise.
Well, Ken, I can't tell you how thrilled we are that you managed to fly all the way out here 7 hours just to show this thing off at the Nats. And it's a real kick to have the airplane that everybody's wearing on their shirts and hats and jackets come flying in. So you had quite a trip out here, and you spent 6 years building this airplane.
7.5 years building it, and it was a thrill for us to come out here. We decided to make it an adventure. When you fly an airplane like this, it's an adventure. We landed 3 times for gas. It was 7 hours and 15 minutes. We fly out of Kenosha Airport in Wisconsin, and we've had a great trip, and we've had just a super time out here. Airplane.
Well, we're thrilled to have you. You've been a model. You've been an AMA member for a long time, haven't you?
Yeah, I joined the AMA in '43, and flew my first Nats in '46 at Wichita. So this is not new to me. I've flown other Nats. But
well, we can sure see a lot of model building experience in the job you did on this airplane. You told me before that you like to show this thing off to modelers almost as much as to people who own their own airplanes.
Yeah, that's true. More so, actually, the modelers appreciate it more because they look at it and they can see the innards of it, and when they look at it, and a lot of power pilots, which are appreciative of what it looks like on the outside, don't really understand what they're looking at on the inside. So the modelers are more appreciative of it, and it's more fun to have it here than, well, pardon the expression, Oshkosh.
Here is Bob Fiorenzi standing way out in a field, holding his arm in the air. Thanks, Bob. We just couldn't resist getting this shot.
We're going to talk to Bob and his incredible F4. Bob, tell us a little bit about your aircraft.
Okay, it's a Tom Cook kit, Jet Model Products. It's powered by two K&B 7.5s. That's 45 cubic inches. It has the Tom Cook retracts, craft radio, and it's finished with acrylic lacquer, car paint.
What fan units did you use in this?
It's the Turbax 1 with the, like I said, the K&B 7.5.
Are they stock 7.5s?
No, they're modified by Tom. They have OS7 DV carburetors, and the pumps are off the back, and they have, I believe they're 6.5 back plates. And there's a few extra head shims under the head for less compression, and we're running 25% SIG fuel.
I see. Let's go over some more of the functions that you have on this jet.
Okay, we have two servos for the throttles. We have one servo for the steering. We have one servo for the aileron. One for the flying stab.
Bob, how long did it take to build this aircraft?
Okay, a few hours a night. We're talking about 6 months, and almost every night.
Oh, Bob, it's more than a scale aircraft. You fly it very scale. Is there some trick to that, making a plane look real in the sky, more than just building a scale aircraft?
Well, it's, I like to think it's all me. It's not. It's basically the design of the airplane and characteristics of the full scale. And it is a large platform of an airplane to fly. It's not a small airplane. And once it's trimmed properly, it just grooves along, and it's not hard to fly at all.
How did you do in the static score?
Okay, static we did 93, and the two flight scores that they used was 90.33 and 94.33.
That should put you in a real good standing then.
Yeah, I believe we're in first place right now.
In which category?
This would be expert sports scale.
Don't touch it when you get this landing.
This is a de Havilland 86B, and it's commonly known as the Express Airliner. Okay, it was built back in 1926. The original was built, and it was used between the wars as a long-distance passenger-carrying aircraft.
Okay, and this aircraft was scratch-built by you?
Yes, took whatever drawings I could find, which are kind of scarce, of the original, and drew up my own plans and built the model from scratch. I had in mind a Rapide originally, which is a twin-engined, smaller version of this aircraft, but a lot of others had already been built of the Rapide, and I thought, well, I'd try something unique. And then also, I built it for FAI competition, so I wanted to take advantage of the rules and get the maximum bonus points. And when I saw this airplane, I figured that's got to be the one.
Okay, maybe you could point out some of the reasons why this is a better aircraft to build for FAI rules.
Well, in FAI rules, of course, the bonus points run as such. I have 4 engines, so that gives me 20% right off the bat. I have a biplane with undercamber, which gives me another 10%. That makes it 30%. And I have an additional 5% because it's a tail dragger. Okay. That's a total of 35%, and that's just about the most I can figure of any airplane you could choose.
Do you know how your score is holding up right now?
Well, as far as I know, I'm on top. I don't know the spread, but with the bonus points, it's going to be tough for the other fellows to catch me. And I think partially because of my model and some of the others that have been built along those new rules, they're probably going to be reverting back to a less generous bonus point system. So you'll see the simpler models having a better chance, which they really should. Well, the power is 4 OS-20 RC plain bearing engines. And the only modifications I've made is to make them a radial mount. I've built my own mufflers so they'll fit inside the cowlings. And I've added an OS 4-cycle plug, which really helps the idle at low speed. And I've added a little nitro to the fuel. I'm running about 12% nitro.
Okay, anything else about the construction of this that you might want to tell us? What it's basically made out of?
Yeah, it's nothing too unique. It's basically a balsa framework structure with some pine in for stiffening. I've vacuum-formed styrene nacelles and cowlings, and I've also covered the airplane in silkspan paper and then used butyrate dope on that for the finish. The whole idea was to keep it really light because in the rules the maximum weight allowed is 6 kilograms, which is 13.2 pounds, so it had to be kept light to make a plane this large.
What is the weight?
The weight is 13.2 pounds because when I weighed in originally with the plane, it was a little over, so I scratched a little weight out, a couple grams, and it's right dead on, maybe a couple under. That's about where I sit.
What's your name?
Steve Gray.
You're from?
Kitchener, Ontario.
Steve Gray won top honors in FAI for his de Havilland Rapid Express. Bob Fiorenzi won first place in expert class with his F4J ducted fan. In giant scale, Ramon Torres won first place for his Beechcraft T-34.
When we conclude the Nats here at Westover, we'll be packing up our equipment and shipping it down to Lake Charles, Louisiana, where the Nats will be next year at about this same time. That'll be a 50th anniversary of the Academy, and we hope to have the biggest Nats ever.
Avid hobbyists always have something up their sleeves. With Zap glues, any modeler can work magic. Slow Zap allows 30 to 40 seconds positioning time and produces very strong joints in hardwoods and plywoods. Flex Zap is the strongest adhesive made for the hobby industry, achieving maximum results without an accelerator. Zap, the total adhesive system, works like magic.
Welcome to Phase 2 of RC Video Magazine series on beginning helicopter. At this time, some of you out there may be wanting to throw rocks at me because you can't get into a basic hover. For you, I say keep practicing those exercises. It will come by eventually. For those of you who have maintained a steady hover, I congratulate you, but don't forget, keep your eye on that fuel bottle. It gets low very quickly. In this series, we will be covering 4 basic exercises. The first one being the horizontal 8, nose pointed into the wind. The horizontal 8, nose pointing to the direction of flight. The circle hover around the pilot, both left turn and right turn. Then I'm also introducing the nose-in hover at this time. Before we begin with, I'd like to answer several questions that were brought to me from the previous series. And that is, why did I go into a forward movement or left and right movement before trying to hover? I feel strongly at this point that for you to gain control of the aircraft is very important. Whereby if you go into a hover mode, you'll find that you are not really gaining control of the aircraft. That is, if it moves forward, you're pulling back to stop it. If it goes to the left, you're pulling to the right to stop it in that direction. In other words, you're behind the 8 ball all the way through. So go ahead and do those exercises, and you'll find that the hover exercises will be much easier from there. To help with the description on this exercises for today, I have my model aircraft, which will demonstrate to you what we'll be accomplishing. As I indicated, the first exercise is a controlled movement exercise, which is the horizontal 8, nose pointing to the wind. What we basically will do is The pilot is approximately 5 to 8 feet in the back of the chopper. What we'll do, the wind is in this direction here. We'll get the aircraft into approximately a 2 to 3 feet hover. We'll move forward and start moving the aircraft to the left and to the back, doing a circle to the left. We'll come up, forward, stop, land, take a breather, get up into a hover. Now we'll start moving to the right here. Come on back to the center, stop, land, take a breather. Oh yeah, here we go. Steady hover, 2 to 3 feet. Okay, get it over your reference point. Now again, the idea is we'll go very slowly forward. Now to your left slightly. There you go, very slowly now. Come on back, make a nice little circle. Very slowly, very slowly. Nose into the wind. Give it a little right, give it a little right. Okay, let's go over back to our reference point. Okay, hover it, stop it, come down, let's take a break there, okay? Now we'll get it back up into a hover, continue forward, now slightly to your right, give it a little right here, okay, get it on back, keep it coming, nose into the wind, give it a little left, okay, again, get into it, stop it, land, take a breather, and we'll get back up to a hover, and this time, rather than stopping, we'll continue on with a basic figure 8, nose into the wind, just as I'm pointing out right now. Get it up in the hover, very slowly, now to your left, forward, very slowly, nose into the wind, up, coming back, slowly, slowly. This time as I come around my reference point, I will not stop. I will continue on with the figure 8. That's exactly what I want you to do. Continue in this exercise, just as you see it now. Nose into the wind very slowly. Again, the purpose behind this is to get a good control touch feeling on the aircraft, where you have total control. I want you to continue the exercise until you feel very comfortable with it. For the horizontal 8, nose pointing to the direction of flight, we'll do basically get you, again, same thing, 5 to 8 feet in front of the pilot, get to a 2 to 3 foot hover, move to the right, 5 feet away, stop, move to the left, nose into the wind, move to the left, approximately 5 foot away, stop. Basically what we're trying to do is get you to point the aircraft in this direction here and flying, coming back and doing a figure 8, at the same time having the aircraft 90 degrees in front of the pilot. 2 to 3 feet hover. Remember, we started this exercise last time, going to the right, keep the nose into the wind, stop at about approximately 5 to 8 feet. Now let's go to the left. Keep practicing the exercise until you stabilize, very slow and easy. Okay, stop it. Now as we go, we're going to go back to the right. Don't stop over your reference point. Gradually put in a little tail rotor control, facing the nose into the wind here. Push it forward. Okay, stop it. Turn the nose into the wind. Let's go to the left again. Okay, gradually induce some. The idea is let the aircraft run sideways, so 90 degrees to you. We'll stop it. Point the nose into the wind. Okay, gradually now point the nose into the direction of flight, slow and easy. Okay. Stop it if necessary. Point the nose into the wind. Go to your left. Gradually induce forward flight. Now at this point we want to just continuously go around without stopping. Point the nose into the wind. And notice what we're trying to accomplish here. I'm pointing the nose into the direction of wind and continuously doing a figure 8, slow and easy. Aircraft is flying 90 degrees to you. Bring it around. Okay, continue to slow figure 8. And that's what you're actually trying to accomplish here. You get tired, let's get back to a basic hover. Point the nose into the wind. Stop over our reference point again. For the circle around the pilot, what we'll essentially do, the pilot is up here, again approximately 5 to 8 feet. Get the aircraft into a 2 to 3 feet hover. Now the pilot himself will turn to the left at this time. Then gradually turning the aircraft to the left, moving it forward, and making a basic circle around him, a left-hand circle. Okay, stopping it, pointing into the wind again, Now the pilot this time turns to the right. Aircraft points to the right. He makes a right-hand turn around him. Do the same thing, coming around, stopping it, facing the aircraft into the wind, and land. Okay, we want to do this very slowly, as I indicated, 2 to 3 feet hover. Now I want you to gradually turn your body, then simultaneously, slowly, turn the aircraft to your left and go forward, just slowly. This is a left circle hover, very slowly, again, control touch. But the attempt here is to get the aircraft pointing 90 degrees to you or sideways. Keep going forward, very slowly. Keep doing this aircraft, very slowly. Okay, very slowly. As you come over to your reference point, stop, turn it into the wind. Now at this stage, come down and rest if necessary. In my case, I have to because I got the cord tangled around me. So let's go back to the right to untangle the cord. Get it up into a hover, turn your body to the right, turn the aircraft to your right, and start the slow hover. Okay, give a little tail rotor, forward movement, little tail. Remember, it's easier to go to your left than it is to your right, but you got to keep a constant balance around you. Keep it a small circle, slow and easy. Very slow and easy. Again, it's coordination, and everything is driven from that. As you get the reference, keep it going around and back into the wind. Once you finish that, come to a landing. Okay, again, the point is continue doing this exercise, not only the left side, which is easier, but also force yourself to go around to the right. And as far as the nose-in hover, which everybody hates to do, basically, pilot, again, is about approximately 5 feet in the back. Get the aircraft in a solid hover. If you have not reached a solid hover state, please do not attempt this exercise. You need to get in a solid hover. The pilot will walk around the side of the aircraft. If he feels uncomfortable, he can walk back, but ultimately he'll walk in the side, in the front, and generally in the front of the aircraft with the nose pointing to the pilot. Then he'll do that both for the left and the right, then land the aircraft. Don't forget, you must accomplish a good solid hover before you do this exercise. Now from here, as I indicate, I'm going to start from the left, but work both sides. Gradually start walking up to the aircraft, looking into the direction of flight. Keep the aircraft going. From this point, after this, turn sideways to the helicopter. If you get disoriented, turn into the direction of wind, walk backwards again. Keep working it in this configuration until you come up to the 45-degree point. At this point, there's a mental transition that goes through flying this nose-in hover here. You get disoriented, walk sideways, or continue on. And this is where I call my transition point, right here. It's a very mental process, but don't worry about it until you come in to the basic nose-in hover in this direction here. Get into trouble, land the helicopter. So again, the main point, get into a hover, solid hover, stand with a position that you're comfortable with, and again, solid hover again, gradually, keep it into that hover, try to look into it if you have to. Remember I said the wind's building up here, but keep the wind going. And this is your 90-degree changeover point. And that's exactly how to get into a basic nose-in hover here. So keep practicing this, and you should not be afraid because everything will be taking place for our next phase. Speaking of our next phase, let me give you a quick preview of what's going to be taking place. Let's get the aircraft into a hover. Now you should be good at this. Then gradually what we're going to do is start our forward flight. Very slow and easy, right into the wind. We'll turn. Turn downwind. There we go. We are flying away. Okay, remember your simple figure eight that you've been practicing? That's what we'll be doing. Get in the aircraft and gradually coming back for a regular landing. Very slow and easy. Very slow and easy. So you can see why it's very important. So until the next time, I want to say keep practicing those exercises, and we'll get good things coming about to work on for the next phase. Until then, don't forget to break a blade.
McDaniel RC presents the revolutionary Knife Starter, pocket-sized power for starting your standard glow engines. The Knife Starter is safe and convenient. The unique headlock keeps the Knife Starter on the plug, not in the propeller. And you can get 50 starts from one 16-hour charge. Now McDaniel offers an improved model of the Knife Starter. The addition of a soldered reinforcing ring at the tip helps prevent stripping out the headlock, providing you with a longer-lasting tool. Remember, the Knife Starter is not a wrench, and if used as one, will strip out the headlock. For more information on the Knife Starter and other McDaniel RC products, see your local RC dealer.
We're back again under the clear skies of Las Vegas for the Quarter Scale Association of America's annual fly-in. In our last issue, we talked to George Vogelsang with his Wright Flyer, and George Harlan described his British Mosquito. In this program, we have 5 more modelers who took time to share with us their quarter-scale achievements.
Okay, we're speaking with Noel Hess and his beautiful Goshawk, I believe. Is that what this is?
It's Curtiss Goshawk with the number F-11C2. It's a Navy fighter plane of the 1932-34 issue. And this was a model of a plane that flew off the carrier Saratoga. It's quarter scale, 8-foot wingspan, weighs about 40 pounds, has a Kawasaki 3.15 engine. It's covered with Seconite and painted with beauty rate dope and acrylic lacquer. Has 8 flights on it to date. Today's been the best one for them.
Is this something from your own drawings, or did you purchase this from someone else?
No, I purchased commercial drawings, and then it's scratch built from those. I modified them, of course. You never build one, of course, it's somebody else's design exactly. You use their basic design and then modify it to your needs. So it's a little bit different than some of them.
Who's your test pilot?
The man that flies it for me is named Noel Johnson from Layton, Utah, and he's a flight engineer for United. And he's a very good pilot. He's a man I'd trust with anything I could build.
Well, it sure is a beautiful aircraft. What else do you have on the drawing board? Anything new coming along?
Well, I've started one for next year that's called a Curtiss Condor. It's a biplane, transport biplane with twin engines and retractable landing gear. One that was used about the same time as this one by American Airlines back east for transport. I got started on it, but I could see I couldn't finish it this year, so I put it on the hold and I'll work on it this winter.
Well, we'll surely be looking forward to that one next year.
Try and have it here.
Thanks a lot, Noel.
Thank you.
Okay, my name is Nick Bravaldo.
Okay, Nick. What aircraft is this?
This is the OV-10 Bronco A. It's a reconnaissance aircraft made by North American Rockwell.
Okay. Where did you get the idea to do a model of this one?
2 years ago, we were flying out here, and one of these things came over the field. I thought it was a flying boxcar, and it looked pretty interesting, so one of the other fellows said, no, it's a Bronco, I'll send you all the literature, and he did, and it was so ugly and so neat that I thought I'd go ahead and be different and build it.
Okay, tell us a little bit about how you put it together, what it's made out of, some engines, information, and radios.
Sure. Basically, it's foam and balsa wood. There's no spruce used in it. It's got plywood doublers. The wings, the flying feathers, are all foam core with balsa sheeted, fiberglass, and acrylic enamel. The engines are powered, Sachs 3.7. I originally had 2.3 Cobras, but I felt that wasn't enough power. So I put these 2 engines in. It's been flying great. It's got 2 complete different radio systems in the airplane, flying from one transmitter. If one system fails, hopefully I've got about a 30% chance of saving the airplane. It weighs about 55 pounds, I've got about 1,500 hours in it, 2 years off and on. It took me about 3 or 4 months just to decide how I was going to build it.
Did you use original drawings?
Yes, the friend of mine, he sent me a pilot's manual. So then I took the outline of the airplane, it had the dimensions, and I went ahead and blew them up on the wall in sections, and that's where I started.
Very good. Okay, we'll look forward to seeing it fly. Okay, what's your name?
Robert Shannon.
Shannon, okay, tell us a little bit about your Cub.
Well, it's the Balsa USA kit. I built it approximately 6.5 years ago, and it's been out here the last 6 years. I just recently redone it so it looked nice. I tried to get for a scale contest over in Riverside, and I did pretty good over there, considering my...
Okay, tell us about the teddy bear.
Well, the teddy bear, what would happen, I used to be a garbage hauler, and one morning I went up to pick a can up to dump it into the truck, and when it did, the bear fell out and hit me and scared the daylights out of me. And of course, I just built the Cub, and I figured, ha-ha, that go good with my Cub. So I put the Cub in. It's been in every flight since. It's, in other words, I put it in about the 6th flight of the airplane. It's been in ever since, and it's got well over 600 flights on it now, today.
Great. Okay, well, we'll look forward to seeing that thing fly again.
Okay, thank you very
Thanks
much.
a lot. This is Mel Barber. We spoke with him last year. He brought the beautiful DC-3. This year he brought the Sikorsky. Can you tell us a little bit about it?
Good morning. Yes, the Sikorsky S-39CS is the aircraft that Martin Ozer Johnson toured Africa in 1932. I was looking for a subject for Vegas, something that could break down into a small parcel for transport from South Africa. And I saw the Elephant, the S-38, which was a very big, ugly 2-engine aeroplane. But it was the ideal subject to break down for transportation. And I was collecting material for this aircraft when somebody told me that Sikorsky had built a smaller version of the aeroplane and that they specifically built one called the Spirit of Africa for the Johnsons. And I started searching for information, and I eventually got hold of Paul Armat of Historical Aviation Album, who sent me all the particulars. The aircraft's called the Spirit of Africa, and I thought it was very, very ideal for the type of aircraft that I could build and bring to Vegas for the quarter-scale do. I got hold of Paul Armat's book, and I planned the airplane so that I could strip it. All the brake joints are as per production joints on the full-size airplane. I made transparencies of the 3 views D4 size in the book, blew it up against a wall to the scale I wanted. The aircraft is 1/5 scale. It worked out to ideal proportions, giving me a wingspan of 10'6". The construction of the airplane is as per the full size. Every rib is in its same position. The hinges are scale. If you notice the covering on the wing here, most people ask me, why didn't I just put a full sheet here? But the full size had the gaps as per the model. And all the center section, the wing panels, the construction of the fuselage, everything is scale. The fuselage is basically all ply. All the ribs are ply, and it's covered with coverite. The leading edge sheeting is also ply, as per the original prototype. The aircraft has flown on a quadra, but not yet on the 9-cylinder radial. I brought the 9-cylinder, the aircraft to Vegas 2 years ago with a 9-cylinder, but could not get it going.
Was this aircraft, it looks like an exploration type of vehicle. It almost looks like a motorboat with a wing strapped onto it.
When Martin Ozer Johnson toured Africa on the photographic exhibition, they thought they would make a color scheme that would relate to the tribesmen. And this is a giraffe color scheme, because most of the natives in 1932 had never seen a white person, never mind an aeroplane. And they would run for miles if they saw the aeroplane, because it was something foreign to them. And this is why the Johnsons painted in this giraffe color scheme, to give them something to associate it with, so that it wasn't all fear. And they actually captivated the tribes. And when the aircraft used to come overhead, and the Africans used to see it, they used to flock to the lakes to come and meet the Johnsons. It was specially built as a camera plane by Sikorsky for the Johnsons, and the color scheme was done by the Sikorsky factory. The reason why I've persevered with this motor is that the scale of the original engine that was fitted to Martin Ozer Johnson's aircraft worked out to 9 1/8 inches, and the scale on this one is exactly 9 1/8 inches. The motor fitted to the Johnson's aeroplane was Pratt & Whitney single wasp number 2. This engine was loaned to Howard Hughes for racing attempts, and he actually broke some world record racing records with it. When it was returned to Pratt & Whitney, the Johnsons approached Pratt & Whitney, and they actually purchased the motor from Pratt & Whitney for $2,000 less than what I paid for this motor.
Okay, we're speaking with Harry Apoyan. Is that correct? Okay. Definitely an unusual looking aircraft. I want to find a little bit about it.
Well, this airplane was designed in 1916 and used in World War I as a non-combat airplane because the British government outlawed monoplanes. They said they're not safe. So it was relegated to peripheral type of duties, reconnaissance and observation type of thing, training and so on. And I'm not sure, but I think this was a training airplane. The reason they put the stripes on it is to make it more visible to the people that were in training. So it is a real airplane. It did have these brown and white stripes, but and it flew very nice. It was pretty well advanced for its time.
What is it?
Bristol M1C, made by the Bristol Aircraft Company. They made a lot of fighter airplanes, and sometimes they call it the Bristol Bullet because of the shape of the fuselage, but it is the Bristol monoplane. That's a common designation for it, M1C.
Where did you get the inspiration for this project?
The airplane was built, I built it quite a few years ago, like 5 or 6, and it got worn out to the point where I couldn't even fly it. I recovered it, and just on a lark, I thought, well, let's make it something different. Rather than put a paisley pattern on it, I thought it'd be nice to make it look a little more realistic. But there is a picture of the airplane in the profile publication booklet, and with a color artist rendition. So it's a very striking. Even to me, it's striking because I couldn't believe it until I finished it and I saw what it was like. Very, very nice, and it flies very nice. Very gentle flying airplane. So.
Okay. What's it powered with?
It has a Super Target 2500 in it. The plane weighs 11.5 pounds, and it's a 7-foot wingspan, which is 1/4 size. It has 9 square foot of wing area, so the wing loading is very light. In fact, it's any kind of mild winds, it starts flying all over the sky. It's just, and of course, it's unstable, and but nevertheless, I really like it. It's a joy to fly.
Okay, I noticed you built a lot of airplanes with big spinners. Is that some reason for that?
It just sort of that happened. The Fokker D8 has a big cowling on it, which required a mold, just like this spinner. The Polish fighter has a big spinner, but I had that turned on with aluminum. However, it's just coincidental. It had no.
Well, I saw you with a trophy this morning. Tell me about that.
Oh, the trophy was it was a complete surprise. It's a Waldo Pepper Award. It's like an Oscar for the nice guys, and I'm one of the nice guys. No, but, what was surprising was he read off, and now this fellow started in such and such a year, and he's been building airplanes, and he was in the Air Force, and he kept going on, an instructor in the Air Force, and I kept listening more attentively until he said, he's the president of Chapter 3. And I said, well, geez, I'm the president of Chapter 3. So it was a pleasant surprise, and I really appreciate it. It's something that means a lot more than just winning a trophy. It's something to cherish because they don't give very many out, and you have to be somebody special.
Well, Harry's definitely somebody special.
Oh, thank you, Ken. I appreciate that. That's very nice. I like the hobby. I have a lot of friends, and one reason you come out here, of course, is socialize and meet people and meet your old friends that you haven't seen for a year. And so it is an activity more than just flying, more than just showing off. It's a congenial type of meeting where you talk to your friends and wave and tell lies to each other, like like we say. Yeah.
Okay, well, thanks a lot, Harry, and look forward to seeing you again next year.
Here it is, the Challenger, an Aristocraft high-tech digital proportional radio control system. One of the best values on the market. The Challenger transmitter is designed for ease of operation with a unique mar-resistant brushed gold finish. Some of the features on the transmitter are battery check button, RF output meter, elevator dual rate switch, and an elevator trim-down mixing knob. As usually found in higher-priced transmitters, the Challenger's open gimbal design gives you stick tension and travel adjustments, and all pin connectors are of high-quality construction. There is an easy-access rear panel for servo reversing, mixing control adjustments, and dual-rate travel adjustments. Change frequencies in a snap with pop-in modules. And the Challenger 620 system includes high-torque indirect drive servos. The Challenger system complies with the 1991 narrowband standards. You can find one of the best values on the market at your local hobby shop.
Each year, more people discover the greatest fun fly going, the Byron Originals Fun Fly in Ida Grove, Iowa. Here in Byron Godberson's backyard, we found 346 pilots, 450 giant-scale airplanes, and around 12,000 spectators a day. People come from all over the United States and Canada to participate in this fantastic aviation event. What better place to show off your latest giant-scale creation? The facilities are the finest available. 600 feet of smooth runway, or if you prefer, lots of wide open grass. Now, if you are considering making the worthwhile journey to Ida Grove, here's all you need. A monoplane with a wingspan of 80 inches or more, a biplane with a wingspan of 60 inches minimum, or a quarter scale of any size. Camping facilities are available, with hot showers no less. This is an event where you can't help but make new friends, and the whole family will enjoy the great show the Byron Original staff puts on. In Volume 4 of RC Video Magazine, we had the World War II reenactment. In this article, we are going to take a look at a cross-section of airplanes that show up and talk to some of the talented pilots at the flight line.
My name is Ken Kinchy from Madison, Wisconsin.
Okay, and can you tell us a little bit about your aircraft here?
Yeah, it's a Byron Originals Beechcraft, stagger wing Beechcraft. It has a fiberglass fuselage, foam wings that are covered with Econocoat, and the cowling and the fuselage are painted with K&B Super Epoxy.
What's it powered with?
It's powered with a Quadra 35, a two cubic inch engine. Gasoline, oil mix, chainsaw engine is what it is. Got a retractable landing gear system, and the main gear retracts, and also the tail wheel retracts. It has landing flaps, and of course ailerons and elevator and rudder.
Did you use the Byron retract system?
Yes, I did, yeah.
And that's an air-pressured retract system.
Right, that's a air pressure. There's a pressure tank inside of the fuselage that takes about, it'll take up to about 180 pounds, but I put in around 100 pounds of pressure.
How does it fly?
Flies very well. It's a stable airplane. Initially, I had the balance wrong on it. It was a little bit nose heavy, so I had a problem getting the tail down on landing, and I couldn't use the landing flaps at that point, but I've balanced it out since then, and it flies very well, with the exception of, like the real aircraft, you bring them in too slow, the elevator gets washed out by the wings, and you don't get an effective elevator, so it's difficult to get the tail down. Then, if you land it at a fairly good rate of speed, lands on the main gear, and then you can get the tail down with no problems.
The spectators participated in a large drawing, and the winner won a ride in Hazel Sig's Cub.
There's a lucky individual today to win the ride in the little clipped-wing Cub. Tom Toberezzi is going to help Charlie there. He's going to get him strapped in there. We want him strapped in pretty good if we're going to give him a loop or two. Here, watch this right there. We'll see what happens here.
Oh, we didn't tie that door up. I did. Oh, did you?
Well, this is a nice treat. You know, we decided to just give away a ride, and Hazel donated her tub, and it should work out very well. Okay. All right, Charlie, give him a good ride. Give him a loop or two or something. Hey, Tom, don't run off. I think we see a tail spring down there. You better get back there, check that airplane. Something isn't right.
Technical problem before takeoff. Some problem with the tail wheel. The pilot had to check.
Before you try to take off. Well, there's something wrong. That's all right. I think Dewey went out there, too. He's not very impressed with that ride already. We're still on the ground. Charlie, check that tail wheel. I saw a spring drop off there. Hey, what's going on there? Charlie, hang on, Tom. Get him. Get that airplane. What happened? You know you're not supposed to leave an airplane running even if you got to check something. Now, wait a minute. Look out, Charlie. Charlie, tell me get out of the way. Oh, no. Get out of there if you can. Look out. It's out of control. That man has stolen that airplane. Look out, sir. You can't fly an airplane. You didn't even like it for the ride. Don't we have a siren or something we can play there? Let's call his attention to those security people down there, see if we can get him back. Do a radio on that thing, Hazel. Can we talk to that guy? Maybe we can talk him back down here. There it goes. you down like that, look. Yeah, there he is. Tommy's trying to get him with the car now. If we can get those sheriff's people out there, we'll get him. Byron, don't you have that machine here you use in the air show? Can't you shoot him down? We'll shoot him down and get this thing on. Get on with the air show here. Here he comes again. Just keep that thing away from the people. You got to land out here. Charlie, see if you can wave him down. Watch him. Watch him. Yeah, you better hold it out. As soon as we catch up with you, you're going to be in big trouble. Scotty, watch him. He's going to come by here again. I think he's figured out a little bit how to fly that thing, and he's liable to get you when he comes by. And Tommy, if you wreck that car, we're both in trouble. Can you handle it, Charlie? You know what the guy said when he got in the airplane? He said, you can go ahead and do a loop. I've been drinking beer since 8 this morning. Oh, well, that explains the whole thing now. You've been drinking beer since 8 o'clock this morning. You said he goes on there. Look out! Look out! Yeah, get him now. Whoa, thank you, buddy. Thank you. Let's get those machine guns straight. Hazel will never let us use that airplane again. All right, let's watch.
If you haven't already guessed, this is not a spectator, but a professional aerobatic pilot, Gene Soucy, flying the famous Crazy Cub act.
Boy, he is really out of control. That's it, Tommy, get him.
We're talking with Dan Parsons. Dan, can you tell us a little bit about this aircraft?
This is the de Havilland Hornet, which came out near the end of World War II, did not get into World War II combat. It was designed by de Havilland and was a carry-on design past the Mosquito. I call the Hornet the daughter of Mosquito. It was the very high-performance single-engine fighter designed to go for long range against the Japanese, hence the 2 engines, and it had extremely long range. Of course, it never got into combat, so they didn't use it for that, but it was very similar to the Mosquito in construction. It had a plywood, balsa plywood sandwich for the fuselage. The top of the wing was plywood, but the bottom was metal. That's where it differed from the Mosquito. So it was, essentially, it has about the same wing plan form as Mosquito and very similar to it. In fact, a lot of people think it's a Mosquito because the Hornet's really not a very well-known airplane. Well, anyway, it was the fastest piston prop fighter that ever went into production, 487 mile an hour on the straight and level at 20,000. It had a 5,000-foot rate of climb at sea level. I wrote to de Havilland in England. At that time, they were Hawker Siddeley had taken them over and got factory drawings from them, and then drew up my own plans from their drawings, made my own retracts and pulled my own canopy, and I guess, like I kiddingly say, I did everything but plant the tree down in the balsa tree down in Honduras, you know. The model weighs 14 pounds. I'm using 2 OS 61 FSRs. I have my own muffler system and exhaust system on it that toned it down quite a bit. It was pretty loud when I had it just coming out, straight pipes coming out of the side of it. And let's see, it's balsa construction throughout, built-up wing, and covered, of course, with the 16-ounce cloth that I sell. And
I was just going to say, that's the glass that you distribute.
Yeah, the glass cloth, and I use epoxy and sand it down and then paint it with auto acrylic lacquers.
Singer Wallace, Christian Eagle from Muscat, Texas. Is that quiet back out there with that focus? Now he is going after the tall grass. Called the Yardbird, first appeared on Channel 9 City a few years ago. Been on Good Morning America, it's got an 1861. Rick Alder, one of our show team pilots, on the training back, all around model aviation, not like I am, and fly the Yardbird. Look at there, it's upside down. Boy, I'll tell you. Weighs 6 3/4 pounds. I'll keep them up if you want to send them across. By golly, I do believe it is a snapper. That's one way to keep the mosquitoes down. You know, you get these guys to smoke them. They help us out. Who's flying that thing anyway? You have any idea? Oh, well. We're speaking with Ralph Brown, and we're going to find out about his beautiful GB here.
Well, the GB is a 1932 racer that was this particular airplane, so far as the history that I know, it was flown in Omaha, Nebraska in the Women's Air Races division by a pilot by the name of Maud Tate. She was 23 years old at the time, and she won first place. I believe she died at the age of 81 3 or 4 years ago, according to Henry Hafke's information, who is the designer of the airplane. And I secured the plans from him in about 1980, had them sitting around for a couple of years, and then built the airplane, scratch built. It's all balsa wood. I monocoat all my airplanes, and it has a 3.5 quadra engine in it. I've flown it about 7 times, 1 time today, and hopefully I get to fly it tomorrow.
Japan.
Nice weather right now. That's the right way.
Excuse me. What are you doing here?
I'm trying to start a motor.
Why?
Well, I've got an airplane to crash.
Okay, we'll be waiting for that.
Good news from Byron Originals. Aviation Expo 87. 5 full days of the world's most unique aviation event. August 12th through 16th.
When you demand high-quality performance, use BK Products Blue Flame Fuels. BK Original Blue Flame Fuel is a blend of castor and synthetic oils with detergent and additives excellent for use in your model engine. BK Premium Gold Fuel contains space-age synthetic oils blended to give you the edge in performance, keeping 4 strokes running clean and smooth. The next time you're in Denver, visit the BK Hobby Center. Ask your local hobby dealer for BK Blue Flame Fuels.
In Volume 7, we will be taking you to the four-stroke rally in Riverside, California, the George Myers Memorial Fly-In near Denver, Colorado, where a beautiful solid silver trophy was given for craftsmanship. Volume 7 is well underway and looking great. We have some surprises for the Sport Flyer, so don't miss our next issue.
Where the world learns to fly. This is the Daton International Air Show 84 with the U.S. Air Force Thunderbirds, aerobatics by the French Connection, an actual aerial assault by combat forces, and much, much more. The Daton International Air Show 84 is brought to you by NCR, innovative computer technology.
Our expert commentator today, a fighter pilot of about 2 decades standing, Ed Meckenbauer.
Thank you, Jim. It's good to be here. Yes, as Jim says, I'm commander of the 162nd Tactical Fighter Squadron at Springfield, Ohio. I'll be demonstrating their wares a little bit later on this afternoon. During the week, I keep myself busy working for Fairchild Republic Company, a major airframe manufacturer in this company. So we enjoy the opportunity to participate and to show you what's going on in industry, in the commercial and the military side. Actually, I was riding my moped down the highway, and a fellow looked like Santa Claus came by and says, "Boy, have I got a treat for you. There's airplanes over there."
Yeah, well, who is this bearded guy?
Hey, yeah, that's right, new beard. Hi, my name is Gary Sandy, and I want to make perfectly clear this is my very first air show. It's nice to be here, especially in my hometown of Dayton, Ohio. What I'm going to be doing is a little bit of play-by-play, hopefully asking the kind of questions that you, the viewer, might like to know, or not, whatever. Just an answer, sometimes that's questionable. Stick around with us, it's going to be a lot of fun. Jim.
We have a lot of people here. We're proud to have you here for the Dayton International Air Show. Many people are here in person for this event. In fact, about 200,000 persons are here. Let's go to Sam Yates, who's with some of those people in this big crowd at the Dayton International Air Show. Sam?
I'm here in the crowd at the Dayton International Air Show. Are you all ready for an air show? Yeah! That's the answer. They're ready for an air show, and throughout this show, we'll be bringing you the excitement crowd side.
Thank you, Sam Yates. We'll be back with more from the Dayton International Air Show. Ed Meckenbauer, Gary Sandy, and Jim Baldridge, and, as you may have heard, in the air, an F-15 coming up next. Stay with us.
This aircraft we will see today.
Fastest aircraft flying will be this one right here.
This one right here?
The F-15. This is a Mach 2.5 interceptor. This is our nation's premier air defense aircraft at this time.
This is it right now. Okay.
Right.
This is the one. All right.
This is something else. He's got 38,000 pounds of airplane here, and he's got 50,000 pounds of thrust pushing him right now.
Look how fast that nose got up.
He's got more power right there than the entire starting field in Indianapolis put together.
Wow. No, come on.
He got off there. He's pulling about 6 Gs, which is not the maximum. The airplane can actually pull around 7.5 to 8.
Look at that tight turn.
He made that turn in less than about a half mile, about 2,400 foot diameter on that turn.
Oh, that's great. Now, that's just great.
Now, was he afterburners on for that whole turn, Ed? He leaves the
look at
afterburners
that shot from the chopper.
Look at a beautiful picture from Mark Crane's airplane, huh?
Yeah, going a little bit slower.
Okay, he goes up and in a vertical reposition maneuver, he just pulls his nose up, lays over on his back, pulls it right back down the runway. And this time we should see 3 very nice rolls going across show center.
Now, he could stay upside down for how long, Ed, before his engine stops?
On a military airplane, an airplane that's not modified for acrobatics, about 10 seconds. Okay, look at this. That's a big airplane to be maneuvering like that.
Oh, hey, all right.
Isn't that something?
Okay, here comes the F-15 now. He's going to be doing a vertical S maneuver here. He pulls it up a little bit. A little aileron roll. And let's see what he does here. Got the afterburner going.
Ooh, love
nice
that.
tight turn. Oh, yeah. People sometimes complain about the noise we make. I always kind of think it's kind of, the sound of freedom. It's a little bit hokey, but, I got a big flag in my hip pocket, and I love this country, and I believe in this stuff. You got to have it, and this is one of the best we have. So we got the F-15. He's going to come in and land now, and for all the Mach 2.5 speed and all the weight and being able to do things, thing lands at a rather docile 125 miles an hour. Really slows down well.
And up now at the Daton International Air Show, Bob Hoover and one of the great fighters of World War II, the P-51 Mustang.
This is the most popular of the World War II fighters that are still flying. About 100 of them still flying around the country. If you ever watch the Reno air races, this and the F-8 Bearcat are the two great big power horses you see, so to say, duking it out around a pylon. It's really close, maneuvering close to the ground. Okay, here comes Bob Hoover back down the runway. Ooh. He keeps it up right down around 50 feet on some of those things, pulling it straight up. That's a great big Merlin.
Watch this roll. Watch this. Watch this. Over the top.
Right over the top.
Very
slowly. He's about 4,000 feet above the ground there.
Hanging in the straps right now.
Just hanging upside down.
Because there's no force right now, see, holding you up there, that you're actually literally hanging in the straps.
That's right.
First time I did that, I was thinking there's some mysterious force. It was, you didn't really feel like you were upside down hanging. You did. But you do. Well, I didn't fly it. I had somebody fly it. I was too scared to fly it.
He's got 1,425 horses under that hood, an inline Rolls-Royce engine, and still the original type engine in that aircraft. And the aircraft is aerodynamically stock. It looks the same on the outside as it did in the old days, except, of course, the yellow paint job and the Rockwell logo on the side.
Well, wait just a moment. Are you saying that this hasn't been toughened up and strengthened for...
Not at all.
Not at all.
No, this is a military fighter.
This is your right out of the box.
That's right.
Gee whiz.
Now, Bob Hoover, he's the first one to tell you he is not a stunt pilot. He is performing basic military maneuvers, the same things that I learned in pilot training and everybody else does, and then he just puts them in an air show environment. He does not exceed the limits of the aircraft at any time.
Well, it goes without saying, one has to know very precisely what the limits of the aircraft are. Goes without saying.
That's right.
Another historic form of aircraft at the Daton International Air Show, hot air balloons were first flown more than 200 years ago. They are flown here every morning.
It's a beautiful morning.
From the Daton International Air Show, you will go flying with the aerial acrobats of the French Connection. Connection is indeed one of the outstanding acts in the entire world. It's a two-plane aerobatic act, and we're not going to show it to you just from the ground or from a helicopter in the air. We're going to show it to you from inside one of those airplanes. Here's Sam Yates.
The French Connection, one of the premier performers for this year's Daton International Air Show, and we're going to show you now what it's like to be inside the aircraft while they're performing. All systems go? Perfect. Everything is A-OK, and we're going to be airborne. My flying companion for the French Connection performance, Montaigne Vallier. Photographer Byron Sturzman rode aboard the Cap 10B, piloted by Danielle Hilliot.
How is the day for flying?
Today is great. Except for you, the blue sky looks probably much better on it. picture, but to fly by yourself, it's beautiful, it's very smooth.
What type of maneuvers will we be doing?
We're going to do a loop in close formation. We're going to do hammerhead. We're going to do a barrel roll, a clover leaf, and the mirror back to back. That means she will roll upside down and we could come underneath like that. And then you can shoot her.
In moments, we were airborne and flying only inches apart. Connection flying team, aerial artists. Our flight showed the artists are masters of their trade.
Beautiful. And we were back on the ground. And shortly after being up so vertical, I went for a short while horizontal.
Oh, it's beautiful.
What an experience. Good picture, Sam. Very beautiful experience. Byron Sturzman shot the video from the inside on that. I spent the past few days with the pilots literally living here at the Daton International Air Show and have gotten very closely acquainted with them. And they are a synchronized precision team, as we can see here from our video.
And twin hammerhead stalls here. Information is one thing to do it by yourself. It's something else to do it when you're in formation with another airplane. Coming right towards the crowd here now.
If you'll watch closely, you'll see that they get very close together in this pass.
Oh, wow. There they go. If we were to pick up our conversation, it might be, okay, I see you, off to the left, pull up now, over the top, straight up, roll, airspeed 10, 5, no knots, rudder kick left now, down, I see you, okay, toward the show line, roll right, in trail, visual, which is a cue that I've got you in sight, pulling out now, below you, coming up on your right side.
One problem, Ed, they do it all in French.
Okay, now we see them coming in here. This should be
oh, look how
snap roll in formation.
Close. What, 2 seconds error on that, and they would
they've got to do it at the same time. They've got to say ready, ready, now, or whatever the equivalent is in French. And they're pulled to it down. And you can see he's tucked right up in a nice trail position, sliding over to a wing position, and they should land right in that formation.
The Daton Air Show is indeed an international event, and Canada is certainly a part of this. The Canadians also have a demonstration team. They're called the Black Knights. They're up next on the docket. Edward, tell us all about that.
Yes, sir. The Black Knights are from number 414 Squadron in North Bay, Ontario, and they fly, shall we say, a mature airplane, a 30-year-old Shooting Star T-33 variant that the Canadians use still as an electronic warfare evaluation platform as a target ship for some of their air defense systems.
Now, this is an historic aircraft, I understand. The T-33, one of the early...
This aircraft that these guys are flying average about 30 years old. So this was a derivative of the P-80, which I believe first flew in 1946. It was the first jet fighter we had in the American inventory, and then was subsequently modified into the famous T-33 jet trainer.
That's a view from the bird's eye of these T-33s in formation. Isn't that pretty?
Beautiful diamond pass. A salute to the crowd there. They roll out now from what they call their canopy box pass. The number 4 aircraft splits off. There is always something in the air here at the Dayton International Air Show. For the 200,000 or more people who come here from all over the nation or the world, there is always something exciting to watch.
Well, it's the mailman watching me, and I don't feel safe anymore. Oh, what a mess. I wonder who's watching me now. The IRS. I always feel like somebody's watching me, and I have no privacy. Oh, I always feel like somebody's watching me. Tell me, is it just a dream? I always feel like somebody's watching me, and I have no privacy. Oh, I always feel like somebody's watching me, who's playing tricks on me. I always feel like somebody's watching me. I always feel like somebody's watching me. Tell me you can't see. I always feel like somebody's watching me. I always feel like somebody's watching me. Who's playing tricks on me? I always feel like somebody's watching me.
Right now, about 20 miles to our east, A-7 Corsair II attack jets are roaring into the air, ready for their part in a combined combat aerial assault on the Dayton International Air Show. That's part of what is still ahead.
Hi, I'm Gary Sandy, and welcome back to the 10th International Air Show in my hometown of Dayton, Ohio.
I'm Jim Baldridge, and the airplane we're going to see next has a very special place in the heart of many, many aviation veterans of World War II and aviation veterans really of all the ages, Ed.
That it is, Jim. This is the Vought Corporation's F-4U Corsair 1, built in 1941, and this aircraft was the first airplane to reach 400 miles an hour in level flight. This is a pride and joy of the Marine Air Wings, particularly in the Pacific.
That's
for
right.
those of you who used to watch Bad Black Sheep, a takeoff on Pappy Boyington, this was his aircraft. And another famous individual by the name of Joe Foss.
Well, this is the sort of the spiritual predecessor of your airplane, the A-7 Corsair, isn't it, Ed?
Made by the same company. This was the Corsair 1, and what I fly now is the Corsair 2.
So what would you say, the 13.5, what was this now?
That's a 13.5-foot diameter on the propeller on this airplane.
What's the wingspan of the airplane? I mean, is that almost as much as the span of the wings, or what?
No, not quite. It's got a span of about 22 feet. So it's almost there.
Yeah, it pulls a lot of air over there.
You'll see it sitting up pretty high here. There were over 12,000 of these aircraft built in the Second World War. And in the Pacific, it had an advantage. We hear so much about Zeros and things like that. And in air-to-air combat against the Japanese, for every one of these that was shot down by the Japanese, we shot down 11 of them.
Wow.
Wow. Gary, you know, one of the few things the Dayton International Air Show is not offering is the Wright brothers flying one of their actual early planes, but we come pretty close to that. What we have here is a nephew of the Wright brothers flying in the Wright B Flyer, which is the first airplane the Wright brothers made for the United States military. Here's Sam Yates.
When aviation buffs get together, they talk about old times. But when relatives of the Wright brothers get together, they really talk about old times.
Horace, did you see them make any of the catapult attempts out on Huffman Prairie before they went to Kitty Hawk?
Not before. Well, let's see.
Didn't they
I was out there in 1905. Was the first I can remember.
First you can remember.
And I can nail that down because it's in her diary. But, of course, I was there, saw them fly other times, but I can't nail the date. You just don't know.
Did they use the catapults at that time?
They used the catapults.
When they took them?
You was flying 6 or 8 men pulling on that rope. Get it set.
As with all memories of the past, the proof of bringing them to the future is putting memories into action. For Horace Wright, one of the last living relatives of the Wright brothers, memories of his Uncle Orville's flight were not enough. He climbed aboard the Wright B Flyer, taxied down the runway, and returned for a short time to the heritage of flight his uncle had started many years before.
In the air, a B-52 strategic bomber.
These are the airplanes that are being replaced to some extent by the new Rockwell B-1 bomber. These airplanes have been around since 1955 in some cases. It's an old airplane. This was one of the first aircraft to set a round-the-world speed record. In 1957, it flew around the world in 45 hours and 19 minutes.
Wow. Pretty few in the air.
3 times.
Is this a supersonic aircraft?
No, it's not. This is a subsonic aircraft, whereas the B-1 will be a supersonic aircraft. This airplane, although it was intended to be a strategic bomber when it was first built in the 50s, actually ended up, it was very much in evidence in Vietnam as a conventional bomber. It would carry as many as 108 bombs.
Oh, there's a nice shot.
You're seeing a fighter's viewpoint of a B-52 right there.
Oh, isn't that something?
That's a beautiful shot. The United States Air Force Thunderbirds are in their walkout now. In this ceremony, the pilot formally takes the airplane from his crew chief. The pilot of each of these F-16 Falcons dons special trousers designed to keep as much blood as possible in the upper part of the body. During some maneuvers, gravity forces can increase to 7 times the normal level, forcing blood into the legs and thighs, and that could cause the pilot to black out. Before the Thunderbirds take to the air, something you've probably never seen before, an authentic wing walker. No ropes, no belts, no safety devices of any kind. Next, from the Daton International Air Show.
We're about to see one of the most exciting and dangerous acts in the world. You've seen wing walkers before, but we're telling you, never like this guy.
Jimmy Dorsey really walks on the wings and the fuselage. No ropes, no nets, no safety devices of any kind.
Yeah, sure. At least that's what he says. We're going to see right now.
I've sort of grown accustomed to being called crazy and being an idiot and this sort of stuff. But I look at it from a standpoint of a professional performing in his profession. I'm doing something that I have worked very diligently at. To me, it is the greatest thing going.
Probably. On the right side, now try to imagine yourself there. This is, we said, no straps, no safety nets, and this aircraft is going how fast? Dives toward the earth?
Well, it can do 175 miles an hour, basically what his show speed is, and
that's a lot of wind.
That's a lot
of stuff trying to pull you off that airplane. One of the secrets is to stay very close to the airplane because you don't want to give a strut or a part of the wing much time to get a head start when it's slack.
And he doesn't wear anything exotic. He's got a regular pair of sneakers. I mean, they're not magnetized. They don't have Spider-Man suction cups on them or anything else. He's got a regular old golf shirt on. Now here he's doing a 4-point roll with a man out on the wing.
Okay, now what? He was legs down, which meant at the top of that he was legs up. I wonder how he managed to stay on.
He just said, well, again, if you remember, just because you're upside down doesn't mean that you're necessarily
wind
hanging.
Is blowing against him enough that he's
keeping the load on the airplane.
Yeah.
If he's pulling down on the nose a little bit, keep the 1G. Now, I think on this pass now we'll see that Jim's moved his position up to the top of the airplane. So somewhere in that repositioning out there, he let go of the wing, walked across, climbed up over Darrell Montgomery's
Look at this
shoulders.
picture. Look at the shot. That's
waving to the crowd.
You cannot see that here at the show. You have to be watching television to see that. Yet another kind of excitement and beauty at the Daton International Air Show, the U.S. Army Golden Knights. Since the team began in 1959, the Golden Knights have made more than 500,000 parachute jumps. They've won more national and international titles and set more world records than any other parachute team in the history of the sport. The Golden Knights are the roving international ambassadors of the U.S. Army.
A demonstration. This is where I gotta pump up my chest. You know, I'm the commander of the fighter squadron out of Springfield, and I take particularly pride and interest in what we're going to see here now.
And that's a Cobra helicopter gunship in the picture.
Here comes the A-7 now, the first A-7 rolling in from the left, piloted by Captain Rick Lotus, who's one of our first-time technicians out of Springfield. He's off to the left. A-7 is a single-seat, single-engine fighter aircraft built by Vought Corporation, Corsair II, the
later namesake of the Corsair one we saw earlier. And from the right is Lieutenant Eric Smith, who is an Emory Air Freight pilot who lives in Springfield, Ohio. The A-7s now have softened up the area by simulating the dropping of their ordnance. And they'll stay in the area, though, to watch for what happens and to watch for aerial assaults or counter-assault. And if there's something that they might have happened to miss that needs a little more precision bombing, they would be ready to do their thing. Now, these are the guys that have to secure the land. No matter how many airplanes you have and how many bombs you drop, you want to hold the land. The infantry has to take it and to hold it. That's right. So now we would have, the objective is always to land troops and equipment in a hostile environment so that, as you can say, you can hold the land. And you want to do it in as quick a period of time after you soften up the area before the bad guys get a chance to move back in. So if you've driven them away with your fighter attack, now what you want to do is get your people down there in a hurry. And here we have jumpers coming out of the back of the C-130s. Now, around these C-130s, the A-7s are orbiting around the jumpers and around the 130s. They're in the air around them. I don't know if you can see them or not, but they're there. They're circling the jumpers. And again, these are standard things. We have our altitudes that we stay at so that we can look at the ground, that somebody on the ground can talk to us and say, 30 meters or 600 meters north or west of my smoke, there's somebody you got to get. Meanwhile, we have the Huey Cobra helicopters also doing some of their work, which would basically be precision ground attack with their guns and with their rockets. Protecting the people who are now on the ground until they can get themselves back together and organized. Okay, the jumpers are down. They landed a little bit west, I think, of the central area. Cobras have set themselves up into a gunnery pattern, much like the A-7s did. Now, having put an initial cadre on the ground, there's another way for those who are like me, somewhat reluctant to use parachutes. You can hang on a rope underneath a helicopter and literally rappel your way down. And what kind of a helicopter are we going to see doing that, Ed? Well, we have a UH-1 coming in here from the right. One of those good questions. And we have a couple Army reservists who will come to Show Center, or War Center, if you will, and rappel down to the ground. And give you a warning now, keep your eyes on the camera. You won't believe how fast they get down.
Literally, we see the men staying right on the outside of the helicopter as they approach the area. They're right out on the struts, and they're going to make a very rapid departure.
Yes. And imagine now in a real situation where we have more than just one aircraft, we might have, literally dozens of aircraft coming in here.
The additional helicopter circling about would then suppress ground fire and keep the enemy's head down long enough for our men to get on the ground. Would that be the scenario?
Exactly, Sam. And these helicopters that are making the circles down lower now
they're down. Look at that fast.
Huey Cobra gunships. They are in the area. They would be under the control of somebody who jumped out, parachuted into the area, and they would be hitting specific spot targets of resistance on the ground while the rest of the force was deployed in the area. Now, jumping ahead in time, now we've consolidated our position, and we have a place for the C-130s to land. So off on the approach end, off to the east of the airport here, we see a C-130 Hercules coming in for a landing. Now, watch his landing very carefully, because he's going to do it in a very short space on the ground. We have a runway there, but theoretically, we don't have much of a runway, at least for this practice simulation. What he's going to do is bounce very hard, we expect, in order to slow that aircraft down very quickly so he can land at a short piece of runway. And sometimes when you find a commercial airline, it looks like a hard landing. Really what he's doing, he's bleeding off airspeed. You hit the ground like that, you can absorb 10 or 15 knots worth of airspeed in a real hurry. And on a short runway, one thing you don't need is airspeed once you get the wheels on the ground, obviously. Okay, now we're back onto the helicopter here, and we're doing the extraction. Now, it's not exactly like the way James Bond did it.
But they'll light a little smoke just to keep track of their activity as they go up.
That's right. The only thing that's worse than jumping out of an airplane or rappelling out of one, I suppose, is being lifted out, dangling on 100 feet of cable underneath one.
And they're a good 150 feet in the air right now as you're watching this.
And one other thing to understand, this is not just an air show for the sake of air show for these people. These folks are all on a normal drill weekend. Sure, they're getting paid for it, but that's what happens when you give up one weekend a month and
2 weeks of active duty a year.
So just a moment ago, Ed, we saw the gentlemen as they were being lifted up. They have a strap between them. That strap actually is a stabilizing strap to keep them from spinning or to keep them from rotating, because the last thing that they want to do is to spin and rotate wildly about, gyrate wildly about, and bang into each other. They could cause some very serious injury, so that controls that.
That's good, and much like the fellows who are free-falling in a parachute, they can stabilize themselves a bit by putting an arm in or out and control their destiny to a slight degree. So they'll be exiting as if they were being extracted without the ability of a helicopter to land and actually have them slide in the side.
Now, while all of this is going on, what you've just seen, to remind you, orbiting again still are those choppers. The Cobras are still orbiting, the Cobra gunships, and beyond them, A-7 still in the air, watching the ground and dropping bombs once again, in fact, and as they continue their attack on this piece of land.
And when it's all over and said and done, the F-4 blows through, takes a picture, and tells you how wonderful you've been, how successful you've been, and it would either call in another attack or say, move on. I said earlier, I waved the flag, and I'm like so many people. I honestly believe that this nation has got to have the ability to defend that which we take so often for granted.
The purpose of the United States Air Force Thunderbirds is to represent over 700,000 men and women on active duty in the United States Air Force, Guard, and Reserve Forces, as well as all the other military branches of the United States serving in critical defense positions throughout the United States and the world. Next in the air, the stars of the Daton International Air Show, the United States Air Force Thunderbirds. After this, a lot of exciting and thrilling acts here in the air at the Daton International Air Show in 1984, but Gary and Ed, the stars of the show, are still ahead.
That's our Jim. We have coming up the Air Force Ambassadors in Blue, the Thunderbirds, fresh back from a 35-day, 17-show, 11-nation trip to Europe. What a grueling event.
And what an exciting show, and they're off.
Short roll here. Now watch number 4. You'll slide underneath there. Raise the gear on a leader's head nod.
Number 4 is off to your right now.
Number 4 is off on your right in that fingertip formation. You held your right hand palm away from you there on the takeoff roll, and he slides into the formation. 4 ship has gone in a proper position. Number 5 rolls. Captain John Bosbeck from Water Valley, Kentucky. Kind of a local guy here. He's from Murray State, graduate in 1972. He's a former F-15 pilot, aircraft we saw at the top of the show today.
That's right, that's right.
And number 6, the opposing solo, is Captain Pat Corrigan from Kokomo, Indiana, another local guy here, and also, as I am, a graduate of the United States Air Force Academy. And he's got 2,400 flying hours.
And Pat's a new member of the U.S. Air Force Thunderbirds this year, his first year with the team.
And he's the youngest one, too, I believe, at 31.
Young guy.
And here's the Thunderbirds opening. It's a diamond clover loop opener. The Thunderbirds in diamond formation, up and over the top into the hazy sky here in Dayton today. But the smoke makes them awfully easy to see in the track. And they're still climbing. They're still climbing. They enter this maneuver about 420 knots, about 85% power. In the old days, going over the top when they were flying a T-38, the slot man actually had to crack the afterburner to hold position. From the right, we've got, making a knife edge pass, number 5, John Bostic. A lot of people believe the Thunderbirds are strictly a show team, but nowadays they're also a regular combat squadron. These men go out and maintain proficiency in air-to-ground and air-to-air capability of their aircraft as much as they do in their Thunderbird show routine.
Back across, the 4-ship diamond tighter than your normal diamond here.
This is a nice show diamond formation here, and this is one of those things. There's about 3 feet wingtip spacing between the aircraft, and a nice show diamond in front of the crowd here in Dayton. Yeah, let's figure out how you become a Thunderbird. So Gary Gary's going to shave his mustache.
Now, okay, Gary wants to become a Thunderbird. How do we do it?
Well, first off, he's got to have been a good boy already.
Uh-huh. And I have been.
He's got to have shown up, dressed properly. As we look at the 2 solos there, inverted and right side up, 5 and 6. So he shows up. He's got a good Air Force record to go with. He's got a good, neat appearance, and then he gets somebody to recommend him. Once he's done that, the semifinalists are invited to travel to a place where the Thunderbirds are flying. Such as here. We had some flight evaluations last year where he's observed, and he gets a chance to observe the Thunderbirds and see if that's what he really wants. All the time he's being evaluated. And then if he survives that, then he's invited out to Nellis Air Force Base for an interview and a flying evaluation with the Thunderbirds themselves, rather than just a one-airplane ride. And then he goes to a senior officer review to see if they still want him. And then ultimately, as the Thunderbirds go over the top in arrowhead formation,
You become one of those guys.
You become one of those if the commander of Tactical Air Command says yes. Here's the opposing thing now. Okay, they saw each other. A knife edge pass on the center line of the show. Now passing over the air show left to right, show left to show right as they move towards the east in what is called the Bonton roll. Everybody in a little bit of an expanded aileron diamond position, and on the leader's command, Larry would say, ready, ready, roll, and they all do an in-place aileron roll, the Bonton roll from the Thunderbirds. In their show, as we see number 5 go straight up. He's down in a position now where he's got as much thrust as he does weight. Now, he's a rocket right now. He's a rocket right now, doing aileron rolls out of sight. That's what they call the corkscrew climb. The corkscrew climb, yes, sir. As we see the Thunderbirds and the 4-ship in trail, smoke on. That's beautiful. And as Larry pulls the Thunderbirds 1984 edition up again into that sun, now they're all looking at the other side of the aircraft in front of them, 4Gs, and as they go through the vertical, they move back to the diamond position. That's trail to a diamond loop. We have a solo coming right in front of us here, about 500 knots, opposing solo. This is an air show, ladies and gentlemen. I'll tell you, this is great. Now, off to the right, we're going to see just a little bit of that fantastic capability of this airplane. We've got the Thunderbirds coming in diamond formation, and we're going to see the difference here, too, because watch above this diamond formation with the flaps down, the landing gear down, flying dirty, about as slow as the F-16 will fly. Amazingly enough, they're going to pass right over show center. The diamond Thunderbirds, dirty, gear down, from behind, doing 650 miles an hour. Just above, too. Fantastic speed differential on those aircraft right there. As sophisticated and maneuverable it is, it's also a rather docile machine. It's called the electric chicken by those of us. The electric chicken. The electric chicken. There's got to be a story behind that. Well, the F-16 does not have a conventional control stick that sits between the pilot's legs. The pilot sits in what is called a vestibular or a tilted back seat. He actually sits back about 30 degrees. His right and left arm are in cradles. And his stick, the control stick, is mounted on the right-hand side of the aircraft, and it's what's called a force stick. Now, here's a maneuver that is something that only the F-16 can do. All due respect to my F-15 friends. This airplane comes in, and he makes that same turn that the F-15 made, 2,400 foot diameter, in about 1,400 foot diameter. Right. 6 Gs, and he has the capability of accelerating while doing that. That, my friends, is an agile airplane. We see the Thunderbirds now, all 6 of the aircraft together, coming right towards our cameras with smoke on. Smoke on, the 2 wingies of, the 2 solos have joined up on the wings of 2 and 3, respectively. A lot of airplanes there close together. A lot of airplanes.
Best seat in the house here, gang, I'll tell you.
That's true, Gary. But now we're moving this best seat in the house to the desert southwest, where Indians once told of the magic powers of the mystical Thunderbird, where the modern Thunderbirds are headquartered. This is the home of the Thunderbirds, Nellis Air Force Base just north of Las Vegas, Nevada. The team moved here in 1956, 3 years after being formed at Luke Air Force Base, Arizona. The Thunderbirds headquarters is this one-building hangar and office complex on the flight line next door to the F-4 Weapons School. About 125 Thunderbirds work here day and night during the training part of the year. Once the season begins, many of these people are on the road with the pilots and the airplanes, while staff stays on duty here, too. Being a Thunderbird is not just doing amazing maneuvers in airplanes. Beyond the glamour, life with the Thunderbirds is very much like life in any other Air Force fighter squadron, although somewhat more intense. This is the heart of the Thunderbirds team. And this. And this. And this. The pilots who fly these exciting airplanes will tell you that it takes a lot more than jets and jet jockeys to make the team go. It takes about 115 enlisted people, men and women, in more than 20 Air Force specialties, from airplane mechanics to supply to commercial and graphic artists to public affairs specialists and more. And the tradition among the enlisted people is every bit as strong as it is among the pilots. Consider this, the Thunderbird patch, painted on the floor in the center of the Thunderbird's hangar. It is surrounded by rope, and no one touches it.
It was originally designed in 1953 by the original Thunderbird team. The semblance is that we wear this and no one can touch it. It is painted in the same colors as a Thunderbird aircraft, Thunderbird red, Thunderbird white, and Thunderbird blue. The bird itself, the multi, is pointed toward the east to greet the rising sun each morning. The head itself points toward the right as a symbol of peace.
Thunderbirds must win the patch they wear, and they must turn it in when they leave the unit. Enlisted people win their patch only after an evaluation by their peers and by the commander. Veteran Thunderbird officers choose the new Thunderbird officers. No matter what their job, jet jockey or jet mechanic, it's clear that being a Thunderbird is a matter of pride.
To me, it's once in a lifetime. You can only do this once in your lifetime. This is a control tour, which is 2 years, and your position is still open. You have an option for your third year. And just being part of this unit, which goes back 30 years, and saying that I was there and I was part of it, that kind of gratitude and that type of inspiration that you get, and the feeling that you want to go out there and do the best, it's really just self-satisfaction.
This is something photographer Byron Sturzman and I did not find at Nellis Air Force Base, Nevada, the home of the Thunderbirds. This Thunderbird's F-100 Super Sabre is on display at the Air Force Museum here in Daton. The F-100 is one of 6 airplanes the Thunderbirds have used since the team's first air show, June 8, 1953, at Luke Air Force Base, Arizona. In 53 and 54, the Thunderbirds flew F-84s, moved to the F-100 in 1956, briefly to the F-105, then to the F-4 Phantom in 1969. When the fuel crunch hit in 1974, the Thunderbirds moved to the T-38, the planes they last flew at the Daton International Air Show in July of 1981. In January of '82, these 4 T-38s crashed into the Nevada desert, killing the 4 pilots. There was no Thunderbird season that year, and in 1983, the Thunderbirds moved into new F-16 Fighting Falcons, America's frontline fighter, capable of full circles in 1,400 feet, flying at more than twice the speed of sound, and climbing like a rocket, literally. An F-16's engine has more thrust than a Thunderbird's plane weighs on takeoff. Theoretically, it could shoot into the air without the wings.
The thrilling Daton International Air Show. It's easy to see why the Daton International Air Show is one of the premier aviation events in the entire world. It's wonderful working with you fellas. Ed Meckenbauer,
I'm glad I was driving down the road. It's a great place to be.
And our hometown boy made good, Gary Sandy.
I just want to say it's been nice working with you knowledgeable pros. I hope my questions weren't too silly. It was just nice being with you guys out there, too.
Okay, and one of the key guys in our coverage, Sam Yates.
The success of any air show is measured not in the air, but here on the ground. For the Daton International Air Show, this year's success has been overwhelming.
Well, thank you, Sam, and that's it for the 1984 Daton International Air Show. We'll see you all in 1985. See you next year.
From the city where the world learned to fly, this has been the Daton International Air Show 84.
And they passed me. That's how slow I was going. So it's total exhilaration.
They're excited by flying in a medium that they've always wanted to be in. The regulations now allow them to fly without any training, and I think that's a very dangerous thing.
Skip Adams is very concerned about what's widely viewed as problem number 1 with ultralights: no regulations for flight training. Today, he's a paraplegic who broke his back on his first ultralight flight. Even though Skip is an experienced pilot and even a certified flight instructor, those thousands of hours in the air didn't prepare him for landing an ultralight on a windy day.
I know exactly what happened. I was riding a gust of wind. That gust quit, and it put me down right in that V. I came in contact with the taller trees down there on one side, and then it was straight down from there.
Skip admits pilot error caused his crash, but blames his broken back on another serious problem with ultralights: crashworthiness. He was flying a model of a pterodactyl where the pilot sits in a canvas sling just 12 inches above the ground. Skip only fell 30 feet. The plane hit on the landing gear, but
the landing gear broke. My body came in contact with the ground in a sitting position. And I started to try to climb out and realized that my legs weren't in a working condition. Everything was numb from the waist down.
I went to California, where Skip's plane, the Pterodactyl, is manufactured, and spoke to Jack McCornack, the president of Pterodactyl.
Are pterodactyls crashworthy? There are certainly some types of crashes that you cannot survive in a pterodactyl. I don't know if that's a strong enough no for you, but you can certainly crash a pterodactyl in a manner that the aircraft will not withstand and that the pilot will not survive.
In fact, the pterodactyl does not have a very enviable safety record. Of the less than 1,400 planes the company has produced, 26 of those have crashed in fatalities. That's one death for every 53 pterodactyls manufactured.
I am aware of the fact that this is a dangerous sport and that people are going to be killed doing it.
But not everyone is aware, because the ultralight manufacturers usually stress the thrill of flight over the potential hazards. Aerobatics is dangerous even to experienced pilots and strongly built conventional aircraft. But as Bill Ladaska shows us here outside of Dallas, he's not afraid to do them with his rally sport. Such trick flying is stressed in Rotec company ads.
It is true, no other company except Rotec Engineering has a qualified aerobatic ultralight and is selling it as such.
You say that your aircraft is the only ultralight qualified to do aerobatics. Who qualifies it to do aerobatics? You do.
Rotec Engineering qualified the Rally to do aerobatics. Now,
why couldn't any ultralight manufacturing do that? It's not set by any government standards or any outside independent inspection.
Absolutely correct. And if another company chose to promote their product as an aerobatic ultralight, then they would do so.
This freedom to promote ultralights, appealing to the glamour of flight, has introduced the planes to the general public. About a year and a half ago, Washington, D.C. television reporter Steve Douglas, host of a popular magazine show, went out to do a story on ultralights.
You've flown before, so it'll come right.
I hope it'll come back.
Just gradually on with the throttle.
Matter of fact, I hope I come back.
After final instructions, he made preliminary practice maneuvers like taxiing. These maneuvers are designed to familiarize the pilot with the plane and the conditions of the day. He then took off. His takeoff was normal on this, his first ultralight flight, and he quickly rose into the air. After a few minutes, though, his engine appeared to be racing. And the ultralight began to rock. The voices you hear in the background are Douglas's camera crew. Soon the plane went into a steep dive. And then...
Holy shit! Oh, God!
Douglas tumbled free from the craft and fell to his death. This video, provided us by the National Transportation Safety Board, was part of the first significant federal investigation into the use of ultralights. It's the Federal Aviation Administration to whom the safety of flight has been mandated. The FAA prescribes such minimum standards governing the design, materials, workmanship, construction, and performance of aircraft, as may be required in the interest of safety. In September 1983, the FAA brought out a regulation, number 103, regarding ultralights. It stated what an ultralight was and where and when it should be flown. But aviation law expert Wendell Turley doesn't believe the FAA is living up to its mandate of safety. He says Regulation 103 is inadequate.
There are no federal standards on the design of them aerodynamically or for crashworthiness purposes. There are no federal standards on the manufacturing of them. There are no standards imposed or regulations that deal with the sale of them to licensed or unlicensed individuals. So the combination, all up and down the line, leads to a cumulative effect of a very high incidence of injury and death from this particular product.
I spoke with FAA official Michael Sackery.
Why doesn't the FAA take charge and do more regulating or some type of regulating of ultralights?
Well, ultralights, the operation of ultralights is a sport. We regulate it only to the extent that it affects public safety in general.
With the FAA reluctant to become further involved, the organization that's trying to establish voluntary regulations for ultralights is the Aircraft Owners and Pilots Association. The AOPA wants to set standards for pilot training and register each of the ultralights. But should complex problems, including aeronautical engineering and structural design testing, be left to a voluntary program? Can the industry police itself? Those were the concerns of the National Transportation Safety Board last March, when they began to investigate all serious ultralight accidents. Within a period of just 6 months, this was their startling finding. They had documented over 80 serious accidents with over 40 deaths. the youngest of whom was a 14-year-old boy. The accidents had occurred in almost every type of ultralight, and it ranged from very experienced pilots to first-timers. This promotional tape was put together by Rick Van Riel and Jeff Castagna, brothers who were ultralight enthusiasts and dealers in the state of Washington. The ultralight they sold was the Sunburst. They staked their life on it. Both lost. 2 years ago, Rick was killed when his Sunburst crashed. A year later, his brother Jeff was killed when his plane collapsed in midair. Jeff's friends and co-flyers examined the wreckage of his plane, searching for the problem. They found a cable to the wing had worn where it could not be detected. A fitting had slipped loose. The cable had broken, causing the wing to collapse in flight. When they inspected their planes, they found that their cables were in exactly the same shape.
Fortunately for me, Jeff's accident probably saved my life, and I would guess I probably was within 6 or 7 hours of failure looking at the parts on mine.
Had it done the same thing with you at altitude, what would have happened?
I'd have been killed.
Reports from the NTSB offices in Seattle and Atlanta confirmed a serious design flaw in the Sunburst. Unfortunately, the company had gone bankrupt, and without compulsory registration to trace their current owners, no one can be sure how many dangerous wing cables are waiting to snap.
Can the consumer know if he's getting in an ultralight that's highly dangerous or one that may be relatively safe?
I think there's no way in the world he can know.
It was supposed to be one of the safest ultralights flying.
It was supposed to be, okay. And this is what made me so angry.
This is Barbara Locke with her son Chris. Bill Locke, husband and father, died as many ultralight pilots do during their early practice flights with the aircraft which the industry ships them to assemble at home. The Lockes felt the craft was safe since Bill was mechanically inclined. The manufacturer was Bill Adaska.
First, there were some mistakes in putting the airplane together, and there were errors in pilots' rush to put the aircraft together.
No way.
Untrue. No.
Was he careful about how he assembled?
Oh, yes.
He even made several calls to Rotec and spoke to their tech.
I think this same individual or a person like that could cut his hand off with a chainsaw, trying to start it with one hand with his foot on it instead of two hands.
There's no way.
No.
Not Bill Locke.
He was a very careful man.
It's not just the families and the victims who are sounding an alarm over ultralights. Just this past summer, the vice president of the largest ultralight company wrote an open letter to the industry. Lucky Campbell said, quote, "I detest the ethic which allows the unknowing consumer to be a test pilot."
With this much pressure, this much concern, why no FAA regulation?
Well, all regulation that we do on a cost versus benefit basis. And when we look at what level of regulation it would take to make a serious dent in the kind of numbers you're talking about, what we find is it would be both very expensive, but not only that.
up is Cap 21, getting ready for the big air race this Sunday, November 27th at Gateway Flying Club. Contact, Joe. Let it rip. Attaboy. Number 1 on the runway, Joe. Hey, Joe. With his golden oldie. Close up. Fuel it up, Sonny. Fuel it up.
Okay, we're going to check out the
Straight wing Corsair. With Sonny? I forgot your name. Huh? Bob? Screw that wing in tight there, Phil. No mistakes.
There's nothing behind. I'm making believe I'm not behind.
Oh. Oh. That thing was in the water and the weeds for 5 months. Reconditioned by John Baranella.
He'll be at the wedding.
Joe Mantione's jet, his helicopter. Nice shot. Nice plan, Joe. Lots of luck with it. Display of all the planes from the Richmond County Model Flyers Club. This is a static show. The flying show will be held later.
Yeah, for now,
There's Danny Basovich and Joe Ivani warming up his big shot. There's the helicopter landing now.
You DCR'd, huh?
Yeah. Was it, Jerry?
Yeah. You saw the aero shots.
Yeah. Come out nice.
Yeah.
I'm trying to get a close-up of this. I don't think so.
Now I wish I could display these.
But that's nice. Okay.
Hold on. Let me get this right.
You get the shadow of your head, your thumb.
Outside.
That's Danny running with the
hang glider. Yeah, he's on his own.
Yeah.
I took my hands off the bar. That's what it is.
You live near the beach?
Mm-hmm. I live 5th Avenue. Right next to Carmen's. Carmen's is over here.
here. They're not going to move this log, right?
No.
You didn't cook in?
Let's get this shit.
Oh, you put him here anyway, huh?
I got 20 minutes. I know, but I can 20 minutes on it, so I can
Once you cut it out,
There's Jim's canard. There's Tom Comino. Getting ready to fly. Getting ready to go up, Tom?
Did I moon you?
Huh?
Did I moon you?
Yeah.
Sorry about that.
Come on, nice.
Get the big one, Eddie. Fairchild 22.
Beautiful.
Thank you.
Very nice. Very nice. I'll give you a nice close-up now. There's the prop and the...
Tell the pilot to smile.
Cow. Yeah. Get in there, you. There's a big smile there.
Yeah.
Francois.
Happy pilot.
Beautiful plane, Tom.
Thank you. It's got,
Lots of luck.
Thank you. Got a backup system there, battery backup, double system.
In case one battery goes, the other one takes over.
It kicks in. It's got smoke.
Beautiful. Nice resume.
Thank you.
T. Stearman. The one he had so much hard luck with. But it's a good flying plane, John. Keep it up. And up the old spinner disc. How you doing, Sam?
How's everything? Guys?
Very good.
What is your report, sir? Make sure I'm on camera.
You're on camera, baby.
I'm the baddest cat you ever saw.
That's right.
Good.
Take it easy now.
Okay. Thank you.
Everybody getting ready to set up now. Show will start in a few moments. And everybody's going to be happy. Going to put on a very beautiful show. We hope everybody enjoys themselves.
Up around here somewhere.
Safety and flying.
This here is a whole separate set. Really, it just gets the pop in, but I molded it all in. Get the scenes
There we have Sonny Palfini, the president of the Richmond Model Flying Club, talking with the outgoing superintendent of Gateway National Park, Mr. Pelicane. Lots of luck in your new endeavor. Hi, Al.
Hi there, Dad. How you doing today?
Is that your plane over there in front of the stand?
You're number 4 on that.
Yep. Mr. John Cavanero. Got anything going up, John? Got anything going up? Yeah, I said you got anything flying today?
Yeah, I got a couple.
Oh, that's good. Lots of,
taking a sound ice.
yeah, lots of luck with it. I thought you'd be up in Maine.
I was up in Maine.
Oh, yeah?
Last week.
Very good.
Yeah.
Copy in. That's copy in.
Yeah, I get
So Ivani's still working on his planes. Putting a new prop on, huh, Joe? Keep him flying, Joe.
I got to make one work to make this one.
New Tiger Moth with his grandson.
They got a team. Information, but they're not
Hey, John setting up a few chairs for his family. It's the first time he ever did anything in his life. Phil Migliori's setting up another one. Hey, Ham, smile, will you?
I thought you were just... I got a picture of somebody else?
After all the work he put into that, you say it's somebody else's?
Boy, sophisticated equipment.
Yeah.
I want the strap.
I left it home.
Okay. Testing 1, 2. Testing 1, 2.
Testing 1, 2.
Pete, PDP and his, what's that, an F-15?
F4.
F4.
Don't mind this gentleman here.
Larry Burleson, Elliot Burleson, his old timer.
Okay, where is it in the car?
Check this
Attention flyers, anybody with channel 52, please report to the flag. Anybody with channel 52, report to the flag. There's a pin up here, please.
more, John. Keep it up. That's the Stearman with the refixed wing. John Baronella's Stearman. He's going to go up with his Tiger Mort next. Keep it up, John. See you later. Dead stick, dead stick, dead stick. Oh, come on, John. Delta. Fly by, Pete, fly by. Beautiful. Flare it up. Nice landing, Jim. Nice landing, Jim.
Nice break.
I got you.
Don't bring it in. They're looking for the plane. If they have a buzzer on, they can't hear it.
He's got a buzzer on it.
Easy, Pete, easy. Pete, don't go so far out.
Beautiful.
But I was smart, you know. She was always saying, I know this thing. I'm saying, I think I might get hold of it. That was big. Then I got up and had a Bloody Mary.
Right now is
there's Tom Amino.
maintained by a combination of park and personnel in our club.
Nice rollover, Tom.
The runways are 300 feet long, including
Come on, son, you coming in? Yes. Come on.
We are now...
nice shot, Tom. Nice shot.
Two planes.
Beautiful.
Go into the air.
And holding it?
That's the name of the kit.
Okay. Well done.
Sounds like his engine is ready to start.
Mr. Joe Ivani getting ready to go up. Whip it up, Joe. Whipped cream, Joe. Whipped cream.
I'd like to point out that not only do we have over 100 members in the Ultralights Flying Club, but we also have a youth section. And if any of the youngsters here are interested in becoming involved in model aviation as a hobby, you are welcome to come down here.
Hey, you getting tired?
So you're all welcome to come. We also have a senior citizens division that operates mostly during the week time hours while other people are working. And they can be seen down here flying almost any nice
Spot it up.
We are attempting today to sort of choreograph the show with music, with sound effects. The gentleman who is in charge.
That's better. Danny Basovich up after Joe Ivani.
Operated by the pilot on the ground. Here we go again. Figure 8, being made by both planes.
Smoke. Okay, I'm doing a roll.
Staying up anywhere from 15 minutes to a half hour. Most of the flights today will be short durations to give walk holes and opportunities to show off your air. Look, your substance. Bring over.
Watch each other, your heads on each other, okay? Push the edge now together. Watch it. Doing the rope, you're under him. Look, Joe! Left turn, back to the field.
Idle coming in. Focus off, idle is low. Okay, both pilots now are going to prepare for landing.
I got you, Danny.
They will circle the field and our landing pattern will stand up landing pattern. They will be landing from right to left into the wing. Stand back into the front right now.
Bring it over there, Dan. A little more power.
Near the end of the runway. Perfect three-point landing, stand back to this. Landing in the same direction from right to left. And then the final approach pattern now. Looking down, making a square right turn, cutting in the far corner of the field. Make the end of the field. Clearing out for landing. Here we go. Ladies and gentlemen, another perfect landing by Joe Evander. Now that is only one example of comments now. The next demonstration will be one of powered gliders. Now, most of these aircraft... We got you. Go to channel 9. The glider has approached. It's coming in for a landing. It is going to make it onto the field. Ladies and gentlemen, a perfect landing. Please remain standing so that we have a moment of silence in memory of those men and women who gave their lives, gave the supreme sacrifice for our nation. Thank you. Ready, gentlemen? And finally, he thinks you either got to be gutsy or crazy. I think he has a little of both.
Remember you had punch the shot before? Yeah, a whole lot of it now. That's there.
Now he's going as far as he can to the end of the field in order to ensure that he has sufficient room for a takeoff. Well, you'll see that once he gets that engine turned up, he can take off in about 50 or 60 feet. Again, for those of you who might be interested, we fly here daily from 10 to sundown. Most of us
Very good. Nice to meet you. Welcome to the club.
Advise you as to how to build muscle.
Hiya, Bob.
And to help you and your
Nice day. Beautiful day. I think God likes us. Yeah.
Try to. He's trying to get all the room he can possibly get. He's pushing the thing back with his feet. It's kind of close, but it's not the biggest runway in the world. What he will do is, as soon as he breaks ground, he will begin to make a right turn away from the pit area. The pit area being where you see the planes lined up. This is one of the most popular pastimes now, elsewhere in the country with without. Doesn't that look like fun, ladies and gentlemen? Oh, he's a little bit crazy.
I don't think he can talk to us now.
Come on back, Jerry. Don't get stuck in those trees. They're very deep. Where are you going, Jerry? The field is over here, Jerry.
Hey, Danny, has this guy got a beeper?
He's lost already.
No. I have to build a big one for him.
I know, here he comes. He knows where we are.
Gary, keep it on that side of the field.
This way, Jerry, this way. Where are you going?
Gary, keep it away from the helicopter. Away from the helicopter.
If you lived on a farm, there wouldn't be a better way to spend your spare time than building one of
Come on,
these.
Jerry, keep it away from the helicopter. Let him go.
It's nice and cool up there, too. That's like air conditioning, real air conditioning.
Come on, Jerry, do you hear me?
You can pick him up, Dan? Danny? Danny?
Yes, I got it.
Oh, you got him?
Low pass, ladies and gentlemen. Low enough that maybe he can even touch the ground with one foot as he goes by.
Helicopters.
Here he comes. Keep your eye on it.
Doing a wheelie.
everybody, if you're interested in finding out information on how you can fly, learn to fly an ultralight, and the way you can do it, if you'd like to give you information. You're going to try to fly upside down? I want to see that.
Yeah. Okay, he's going to do a wing over. He's doing a wing over.
He's doing a wing over, ladies and gentlemen.
Hey, John, thanks for the picture, the magazine.
Jerry, come on up. There we go. Oh, he stops with his feet. He's wearing spiked shoes. That's how he stops.
Charlie, get out of the way!
Jerry, hold it a second, Jerry.
Ladies and gentlemen, our club, as I said before, was one of 1,700 clubs throughout the United States, consisting of over 90,000, 100,000 members. Each of the areas of the country is divided into a separate section, and that comes under the jurisdiction of the Academy of Model Aeronautics.
Thank you very much, ladies and gentlemen. It's always a pleasure to be here. You had a good day. You have a good day. It's so crowded, I guess you'll have to make a reservation to get out of this place, huh? Anyway, have a heck of a good time. These airplanes they're real airplanes, just as real as the ones you see overhead flying with pilots in them. They're real airplanes. They're just scale models, that's all, and model replicas of what goes on upstairs. And I want you to know that there are 94,000 members in the Academy of Model Aeronautics right now. We're going up to 100,000 this year. We got to make it. And it looks like we're well on the way because we're only in the month of June practically. End of May, we have 94,000. So you got to bear in mind that at the end of each year it goes down to 0 and then it climbs up and gets up to 94,000. This year it's going to go way beyond that. Next year we hope it'll get even larger. And we'd like a lot of you people to commit yourself to looking into this thing because it is interesting. It's a very, very inspiring hobby. It's a hobby that can give you a great deal of satisfaction in your own ability, not only to build an airplane, but to fly one. And it's not all that difficult today to come by a model like, well, some of these, it's a little difficult to come by, like these here, but there are quite a few trainer airplanes. Some of them are prefab, pre-built, not much effort. And the idea is you folks are from Staten Island, you know all about the Richmond Model Flying Club, and also the Staten Island Modeleers. And you can, if you don't know any of these gentlemen, come out to the field someday, or when they're flying, you know, a normal flying session, and tell them you'd like to get started in the hobby. And they'll lose no time in telling you all about what they're doing, because nothing nearer or dearer to the heart of a model airplane builder and to have somebody ask him some questions about what he's doing. Don't be bashful. Some of their aircraft for newer equipment, perhaps, and you can pick up a lot of bargains if you belong to a club. So what are you doing, Jimmy? Why, if you're interested in this sort of thing, you should get right with it. I'm not going to the sanction this time. Last year, I don't know, I guess they fly day in May, and I guess we just didn't have as much influence as the great contest director up there. So, gee, I didn't think you were going to shoot at me. Okay, fine. Anyway, that's about it. Thank you very much, Larry, for the mic, and have a good day, and all of our best to all you guys.
Thank you very much. The demonstration you're going to see is a scale model.
Cap 21, getting ready to go up.
Well, today we still have them on their usually held at major airports and before hundreds of thousands of people. One of the
South away. Sonny, have a good trip.
We're going with an aerobatic bike that goes back to the early 1930s. You'll see the contrast of the two planes. The small plane of the 1930s and Steve and Luke.
Sonny. Get it up there, Sonny. And his little bike. And his four-stroke engine.
There goes the cap over the field. Inverted flight over the field.
There's the Cap 21. There's the bike. Sonny Palfini in his bike.
Some of you may be interested in while you're watching these and finding out some information about what are the costs of getting into a hobby like this. And frankly, the costs have gone down immensely over that the costs of getting into the hobby are quite less. To give you some idea of that,
a little hard on that landing, Joe.
You can get into a hobby like this for an into the air for about $350. But once you've made the initial investment in the radio and the engine, it just involves building you can use
Sonny Palfini again on his bike.
As long as you're careful for as long a period of time as you want to use them. Okay. There are a number of different types of planes that are available to us. Some of those are sport models, such as this Cap 21. Others are scale models. Okay.
When you coming in, son? There's Sonny Palfini coming in for his landing.
Airplane types are going to give you a demonstration of model helicopter flying, where you actually see the same users that are
coming in, Elliot. What? Coming in
model form that are hovering, going backwards, forward, up, down. Going to the right. How about a nice model aboard? Nice job.
Together. Pete, stay where you are. He's coming in with the big one. Stand still, Pete. Joe's coming in. Okay. Daniel. Coming in, Joe. After Joe.
Kosovic.
Got it, Danny. There goes the engine. Up the grass, Pete. Coming in. Coming in, Pete. Coming in. Pete, I'm coming in. Here comes the glider. Who stood up? Let's see if Scott stood up. No, I got no clue. Got deep down. I never took that way down. You got it. You got it. Bring it in.
Nice shot, Paul. Nice shot. Beautiful.
Listen, while you're out there, you can pick up the phone.